really think. And this is I grew up in a 1% family.
Yeah.
Okay, like this is I had the life like sort of. We were like kind of like rich people that like dressed poor, you know what I mean? But it's like I hear 2,500 a month. I'm like that's plenty for a kid. And I'm
Right.
not trying to
No, that's fine
and
that you feel that way.
I don't think it's gonna like damage a kid if they one's in a Lamborghini, one's in a Honda Civic.
But I'm telling you,
Yeah.
that's up to judge. That's up to the
Right.
judge, and that's up to law. And again, so if you are in it, like I said, it's like greater than equal to. So if you're using a $1.6 million house, a $500,000 house, $400,000 house makes sense. Like I'm not saying you have to be 1.6 million. Like that's not what it is. So like I said, people are allowed to feel that way. I would love if people were just out of the business in general, the court system, and there was something that could be worked out, but just between families. Like that's it. But that's a fucking ideal world that we don't fucking live in.
Well, and the feedback I've gotten from men is a lot of times like we would get more if we didn't drag their ass in court. And
But,
like this is the feedback. Like if you just give them time, start like a lot of times you get more than you think you would have. Because most men want like that I know want to take care of their kids. But it's just like when a woman, because in their head and to them, it's like you're dragging me to court, you're doing all this, you're asking me for all this money. And it's like they in their head, they're like, well, fuck you.
No, well, and to also, where that point is not relevant to me is because he served me. I didn't take this to court. He wasn't paying me child support. I had to get a lawyer to figure out what to do next, but he served me first. People don't know that. So I got a paper in the letter in the mail and said, this is what we're about to do.
He's taking you to court.
Yes.
Okay. I don't served you. So it just means he serves you with papers.
So it's not like, so for you saying, oh, well, you know, if you didn't take him to court, maybe he would, well, he's taking me to court. So again, I hear you. And maybe for majority situations, that's what it is. But I was served. So then I had to retain a lawyer. And like I said, all I did was got a consultation, just trying to figure out he's not paying anything in child support. What do I do? And then I got served. So I had to retain her. So that's why I'm saying my situation is like, I get it. It's just not the typical, like, yeah, maybe if I was just a little more this way, he would have gave me that. No, he served me. I can't go, I have to just defend myself. That's it. So that's where we're at. Like, again, hearts don't break even. People have their own motives and their own reasoning to do whatever they do. I never wanted the internet in our fucking business. But when you tweet, you was faking it all along and putting people in the mix and playing up a narrative people think about me.
Oh, you feel like he started it on the internet?
When we broke up, yes.
Okay. Tell me about that. Because
when
I think of you're a social media influencer, I just assumed you were first.
No. But that's why I'm saying nobody really looks at the facts and really what unfolded. So when we broke up, he had tweeted, you were faking it all along. And he said that they were lyrics from a song, but he got thousands of retweets. And then I became the big bad gold digging whore who just used him and had a baby and bounced on him. And then I became this pedophile psycho bitch that is just vindictive. And he started it. You put the internet in our business. I literally just had a baby. My stitches in my vagina were just healing. Why would I want to go to the internet and have it be some fucking spectacle for everybody to see that we broke up? Why would I want that? Like, after all the stuff I've learned, even then, that doesn't even it's not logical. And now we have a child. My child has his name. So what do I gain from going back and forth with my baby daddy? My son has his name. So why would I want to make him look stupid and have people in our shit?
So what did you do after the tweet? Did you come and like defend yourself or what?
No. And that's because I was silent. Because literally.
Oh, and that's when all the videos came out.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. Because when I'm telling you, I have been through some different things. Giving birth, how I felt after, I don't know. It was just like a crash, like hormonally. I was going through all of this stuff and you just feel like, for me, I just felt like I was like, you just wanted to die, right? And when he said that, I was like, delete the fucking tweet, you know? Like, he ended up deleting it, but the damage had already been done. All the blogs picked it up. All these stories started circulating. And I did not tell my story because, quite frankly, nobody gives a fuck. Nobody cares that I was cheated on. Nobody cares what I went through when I was pregnant. Nobody fucking cares. So what do I look like going on live, crying about my baby daddy, about a decision I made ultimately, right? This is who I picked to be my child's father. I don't need your fucking sympathy. And I don't need your fucking empathy. You're not going to understand even just this interview right here. People may have a better idea, but you're still going to think what you want to think about me. So for months, I was silent. But you know what I did? I leaned into being the villain. Okay, well, you guys think I'm a piece of shit? You think I'm a monster? Well, I'm going to show you what a monster really is. So then I'm on Jackson State's campus, taking selfies. Hide your sons. Because you guys were already saying that in my comments. So instead of crying,
that's kind of funny.
No, it was funny. It was hilarious. I loved it. So I'm like, let me just laugh at my pain, just like with you. Like when people say mean stuff about you, okay, this is what it is. This is how I feel. You're not going to use this and hurt me, and that is probably something like.
So you're almost like sometimes you're trolling the comments.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But people don't know my personality.
And then people think you're being serious.
Yes. Because they don't know my humor. They don't know my personality. They don't actually even know how I cope. And I have been on social media since July of 2012. I have seen Instagram in its many phases before there was even videos on there, right? I don't know another way. Because if you read shit and you obsess about it, you're crying in the car. Right? I feel like kind of a guinea pig because I'm one of like the original Instagram girls, right? So I just feel like I don't like to explain myself to strangers. Now, me and you are talking where I want you to understand. You're asking me questions. I'm telling you the truth, right? But to a bunch of strangers who have no desire to listen to me as you are, I'm not explaining myself. Go hide your sons. I don't care. You already think I'm this anyways. I can't convince you otherwise. And again, I'm not Jehovah's Witness. I don't convert people. You ain't a believer. I ain't here to convert you. So yeah, a lot of it is like my personality. People don't really know who I am. Now moving forward, I don't really like to troll as much because I realize how damaging being something I'm not, a villain, how damaging it has been because that's not my truth. Like you've seen me, I'm really just a little sweetie pie. That's just kind of how I am. I don't like people to see me vulnerable and nice and she's actually likable because at one point I would have rathered people fear me, think I'm a succubus evil whore because I didn't want people to see this mushy part. Because it's disgusting, right? And that's why I've always judged that part. But I've told myself, I'm going to authentically be myself. If it's not as exciting as being a villain, right? If I don't get as many clicks, if I don't get any more followers moving forward today, at least I can say I'm being myself. Because all that shit show, that wasn't me being myself. That was me playing into a character that is like not even a fraction, like 5% of who I am.
What do you think about the phrase, life is about choices and trade-offs?
I agree. I mean, I love Kevin Samuels. I feel like that was definitely a message like that he would preach a lot. And it's true.
What was it like meeting Kevin? And
he's much taller in person.
And did you take any of his advice? Second part.
I felt like I started to think about my life and what I wanted to do moving forward, which kind of, I don't want to say it's scary. I don't want to judge it, but like, he talked about a lot of uncomfortable truths about the perception of men and like family structure and my situation. And it was a lot of difficult truths that were really hard to hear. And I feel like I started thinking having more of a business mentality after I spoke to Kevin. And I think was very kind. I listened to him a lot when I was pregnant. And I felt like his message often went missed because they would sensationalize him being hard on women. I've heard him be hard on men. I've heard both, but the internet's going to run with what's the most viral. But no, I loved meeting him. He was a fellow Pisces like myself. He's very charming. He's very funny, very open-minded, but he was tough. He was just like tough love. So yeah, I miss him,
Yeah, that's the one. And I've told you this, but I really wish I could have interviewed him or like had him on my show. Like that's the one person that I just used to watch. It's like you watched him so much, you felt like you knew him.
Absolutely.
And I'd only talked to him. I think I talked to him twice, like once about my channel and once about an boyfriend of mine. And it was like, I don't know. You just like felt like you knew him, even though like I'd only talked to him twice, really.
Yeah. And I think people underestimated how much he really cared. He put a lot of time, energy, and effort into talking about family structures and having people be accountable and calling out the I have a PhD, you know, die with a dog. Like he called out a lot of things that are going to be people's realities if they don't look at their lives now. So I think that's why a lot of his content was rub people the wrong way. My perspective, you know, everyone has their own feelings, but
because
he was necessary.
He was about outcomes, not really what felt good.
Yep.
And a lot of people would like, I hate it when people would like question his intentions or like da da da. You know what I'm saying? Like when I'm just like, who cares? His outcomes are good. He has people making videos about how they got married because of him.
Yeah.
And it's like, how can you argue with outcomes?
Right.
What do you, so wait, did you take his advice?
Yeah, I've started focusing more on the business and figuring out like, what do I even like to do? Like, how do I plan to make money? Like, what is going to change here? Like,
I mean, Brittany, it's relationship advice.
That what? Oh, relationship advice. Well, we talked more about business stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, our like the stuff that we talked about in like when we would talk on the phone every now and then.
It's funny, he talked to me about business too.
Yeah,
the first time
he was more business. So that's why like when it came to relationships, we didn't really talk about that stuff. Not really, to be honest, because I just feel like that I wasn't really focused on that. I was trying to figure out my life. I have a kid now, and I feel like he was, you know, really insightful of that perspective and topic. So yeah.
Sorry, I'm looking at the question. What are the pros and cons of OnlyFans?
Are we talking about like typically what people post on OnlyFans, or like are these people like posting like
let's say all
like
out.
cooking
corn.
Oh.
corn to nudes to corn.
I think it's easy money. I don't think there's gonna be much longevity with it. And for me, I don't like the idea of selling a picture of me, like a personal picture that maybe I'd send a guy I like. Like you can subscribe for like $10 and you can see it. And I think it just takes away intimacy for me. I think it's too invasive. But there are people who obviously make money, sex workers that do. Can I say that?
Yeah,
sex workers? Okay.
Sex workers, yeah.
Sex workers that make bank and they serve their, like there's an audience for that. They fulfill their audience's desires, but it's not for me. I wouldn't want to do it. No. I don't like taking the easy way out either. And that's just my opinion. I think it's an easy way out. But it's not like you're not actually asking yourself what you want to do, and you're not thinking about longevity unless you're using that money to like invest in other things, but most likely you're not. And then not only now you kind of have to carry that stigma of you sell content online. And there's guys that don't care about that, but like the stuff we've been talking about, there's more guys that care that you're an OnlyFans girl than not. So I feel like, why do it if you don't have to? You know, because it's just like, I feel like it has such a mark.
Yeah, see, we agree again.
Yeah, wow. I would avoid it. I'm like, I already got enough fucking shit. Like, I can't be adding now. And I just feel like it's an easy way out.
Do you think you could respect a man and submit to a man that makes significantly less than you? So $45,000 a year.
Yes, but it's not about the money that brings the respect. It's about the Mufasa energy and like really caring about me and respecting me and valuing me.
Have you ever met a guy that makes $45K a year that has the Mufasa energy?
The only guy I've talked to besides like my first boyfriend and the lawyer, I really haven't had many guys. Oh wait, I'm trying to think. I talked to a trainer. We talked about that last night. Yeah, what was the question again?
Could you respect, like, could you submit to him?
Yeah, because I respect him, I'm going to submit to him. That's naturally what I want to do. Like, I want somebody who's going to love on me.
He says, don't go out. Would you delete your Instagram?
That's my moneymaker. So if I don't care about a guy's money, that means obviously I'm taking care of like myself and providing the lifestyle that I want for myself. So I wouldn't delete my moneymaker now.
Would you go down in lifestyle for a family?
Go down in lifestyle? What does that mean? Because I provide my own lifestyle.
So this is like often Kevin Samuels would talk about how women don't want a husband, they want the lifestyle. And
Okay.
you kind of agreed with that a little bit because
A lot of people do want the
a
lifestyle
lot of people do.
because they don't have
And
the
his
earning potential.
so and I like his point was back in the day, you would work, you both would work at times,
Mhm.
and you'd have to work twice as hard just to have children. So
Mhm.
it's like and he wouldn't make like more money. So it would be like, try not to butcher this too much. Sorry, Kevin Samuels.
Okay,
fan.
basic. Okay, I
So
think I was.
but so the whole point is like you don't get to go on trips. You can't go to London for a week. You can't. I mean, this is different because you see what I'm saying. You don't get to go on trips. You don't get to eat out. Like even growing up, even though we were in a 1% family, like I was very much jealous of some of the lifestyle that some of my friends lived. Like where they would eat out, they had cable. Like we didn't have cable TV.
Mhm.
My parents like I want to say we still went on vacations, but we never flew. And it's like a lot of times, like women would rather have the lifestyle than a family.
Well, to me, what you're describing sounds like money management because that's you make money, and the reason that your family has stayed wealthy is
Mhm.
because they don't eat out every night. They're
Mhm.
not taking trips here, there,
Mhm.
everywhere. They are, even though you guys could do
Mhm.
that,
Mhm.
right? It's like that sounds like
Yeah.
just money management to
Yeah,
me.
they do now. I will say they
No,
do
yeah,
now,
but that
back then,
sounds like
yeah.
money management. That sounds smart. So yeah, if you have more kids,
Mhm.
it doesn't make sense to go out and spend
But-
$300 at Outback when
but-
you could buy groceries.
Right, but the whole point is like, let's say you deleted your Instagram tomorrow. You could hypothetically get a part-time job, make 20,000 a year, date a guy that makes $50,000 a year. That's 70K. You could live off of that. It just wouldn't be the lifestyle you'd want.
Yeah,
And so that's the whole question is like, would you go down in lifestyle for a family? Because you get a family out of it, and that's like legacy. That's like what we all want.
yeah.
But it's like a lot of times as women, we don't want to give up, the nails done, the hair done, the makeup, and
Yeah.
all of that, you know.
My answer is going to be no because that's something I can provide for myself. So
Mhm.
I would never downgrade my lifestyle because again, I'm not asking a man to provide something I can't provide for myself.
Mhm.
So again, I feel like I've gotten so much better at money management, not spending $600 at
Mhm.
Sephora. You know what I mean? I feel like because I have a son now, because I have to think of money and be a lot smarter, I have downgraded my lifestyle already.
Mhm.
So to go from this 6 figures a year to 20,000 doesn't even make sense. Like I want to tap into my fullest potential.
Mhm.
Me tapping into my fullest potential does not entail working working a $20,000 a year job. It just doesn't. That's not what I'm here to do. I wouldn't be given this platform. I wouldn't be given this voice if I was meant to have a $20,000 a year job. That's just what it is. Like, and I'm just speaking for me.
Mhm.
Like I'm meant to do this, so I just can't relate to that now.
Do you think it's possible to find traditional women in today's world?
Traditional, no.
No, you don't think they
No.
exist?
Uh,
I want to go looking for one.
I would say, yeah, I'm gonna say no.
Let me know in the comments. Where do you find them?
Yeah, I feel like they would probably have to be like maybe super religious.
Sorry, I'm not trying to. I'm only reading the
Oh, that's
comment.
fine.
Yeah. So,
But no, I don't.
what is your ideal man now?
Goodness. I'm still figuring that out. I feel like there's like kind of how we were talking about off camera as well. I have not liked what I've been attracting.
Mhm.
So I'm going into my inner world
Mhm.
and right, moving some things around, addressing some shit, answering questions. Like even this, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Mhm.
Right now, there are things that within myself that require more attention than like what do I want in a guy.
Mhm.
Like this is my thought process. I'm already looking at a small percentage of men. So
Mhm.
why am I gonna dedicate ideally what I would want in a guy?
Mhm.
I'd rather just keep it open. Like if I go to the mall and say I want a red bottom with spiked heel and it has a pink bow and it has to have this, I go to the mall and it's nowhere to be found.
Mhm.
What if I just say I want a black shoe?
Mhm.
There's a lot of shoes that are gonna come to me, right? That I actually be like, you know what? I didn't even know that I actually like this one better than the idea of that. So that's why I don't have my list. I'm just really big about the Mufasa energy. Again, what we're talking about is masculine energy when I say Mufasa. He sees my value. He wants to understand me for me, and he's honest. Those are the only things that I can think of off the top of my head, character-wise, that we're talking about. So I don't know what that man looks like. He could be a nerdy, whatever guy. If he has those things,
What if he's got Mufasa energy but a beer belly?
I'd fuck with him.
You could overlook the beer belly.
I could if he had everything else. I mean, like I said, ideally, you do want a guy that's in shape, like we talked about earlier in this conversation. Yeah, but if he had like all of that, he had everything I wanted, just a little beer belly, we'll go to the gym.
Someone said, I'll be a stepdad if she can make me good food. Can you cook?
Can I cook?
And can you learn if not?
I can read instructions. I can read directions.
Where should I take Brittany on a date?
Where?
Yeah.
Oh, like
if you were to go on a date, where would you go?
I would love to just go on a walk.
Mm-hmm.
I love going on walks. I go on walks with my dog. I love being outside. Anywhere in nature would be an ideal date for me. We could have like a picnic. I don't know. That'd be fun.
Do you still post thirst traps? So are you still thirst trapping? I haven't looked.
No, not really. I've been posting more about my leggings, and then I do more of like the car rants. No, because it's kind of like, okay, people actually would prefer to hear me, and I know maybe the guys would disagree, obviously, but I get more engagement on me speaking than me showing my ass.
Well, I was just wondering if that's changed since like you became a mom.
I don't know if it's necessarily because I became a mom. I just, when I started speaking a lot more, people were just very interested for whatever reason. Like it could be because I sounded fucking delusional, whatever, or because I was making sense to some people. But I just started to notice people were wanting to hear me talk more. Even when if you go to my page, I have videos where I'm working out. People want to hear me talk. I have over 1 million views on every video I'm talking in. So I just give people what I feel like they would like. So thirst trapping doesn't have the same potency as it once did years ago. So that's why I don't do it as much. It's just pointless.
Yeah.
In my opinion, unless you are trying to like promote an OnlyFans, that's what makes sense. But like I don't have that. So like why am I giving all that? I'm gonna just be in the car talking shit.
Do you regret doing your book?
No. It scared away the people that were not for me anyways. It helped. My book helped a lot of people, and it also, most importantly, it helped me because I have lived with shame my entire life. The book helped release some of that, but I think even yesterday when we talked about some stuff, some more shame came up, right? So this is like a layer by layer thing that I've been dealing with my whole life. So I don't regret it. It was a big step. I actually fired my manager the day I posted it because he said, "You're going to ruin your life. If you post that book, you're going to lose all your brand deals. Nobody's going to like you." And I fired him. And I'm like, well, if it can be destroyed by the truth, like if my truth makes me undesirable, then I would rather just be seen as undesirable then. I don't want to live a lie and act like I'm some, this little princess that's never done anything, I swear. That's not my truth. So that's why I'm very big on, I accept what comes behind what I've done because I don't want to live a lie. I don't want to live a lie. I want to be authentic. I want to be myself. Take me as I am. I have nothing at all.
See, this is just me thinking out loud. I feel like it could still be the truth, but the truth that you don't tell everyone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because in my head, I'm just like, I don't necessarily, like, I feel like some guys would have been, even with all the stuff, if everyone didn't have to know, like, they would still look past it. But it's like, when you put that out there, a good guy that maybe would have taken you seriously then, like, wouldn't,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like...
You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times we'll say things like, oh, if he was, like, the right person, he would just look past it. But, like, I'll use myself in this example, so it's not, like, personal, right? But if there is... I think ideally, like, when I wanted to wait till I was married to have sex, right? And if I stayed a virgin, like, there are guys that would have looked at me then that, like, wouldn't now because I'm not. And a lot of times, like, people's immediately reaction is like, well, you could still find a guy even though you're not a virgin. Okay, that's fine. But there's still a pool of men that, like, would probably eliminate me now. Does that make sense?
No, I absolutely understand that. I'm not saying that there weren't like good guys that may have been interested.
Yeah.
But again, this is my truth. And it's like, if the dog, my grandma always used to say, if the dog wouldn't have stopped to shit, he would have caught the rabbit. So it's like, I although it's like, okay, we could entertain that thought, it just isn't progressive for me because again, this is my truth. Like I have considered like, maybe I don't write another one. Not because I'm like, I'm so fearful of the...
Can I be in book number 2 if you do?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. No, and you would... No, you absolutely... You would be in there because I feel like even meeting you and having this conversation and getting to to pick Andrew's brain as well, like I learned a lot. And that's what I really pride myself on, is being able to sit down with anyone and learning from everyone. So that's why I think now I do view it a little differently. I don't know how I feel about another book. People have been asking for one. I don't know. I'm just not, I don't feel called to do that right now at this point in time.
I'll only support it if I get a chapter.
Okay. I got you.
All
dedicated to you.
Yeah, you could do like pearls of wisdom.
I love that. That should be for your show.
Talk about all the wisdom.
I love that. You definitely need to use that for your show. Pearls of wisdom. I love that.
Pearls. Yeah, someone said it should be Eclipse channel.
It should, absolutely. No, you're being.
And I was like, what should we make Pearls of Wisdom? Pearls of Wisdom merch. Yeah.
I would love that. That would be so well.
Oh no, I dropped this blessing. Sorry. Okay. Sorry guys. I'm looking at your questions. Let me see some in the chat. Let me.
I with oil. Am I good?
Someone,
I need some.
Someone said.
Good. Okay.
Someone said write a children's book.
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah. They said, would you date someone like Tay? I'm gonna give you like one, maybe two more questions.
Okay. Like it's so oily.
Ooh. What's more important, loving someone or security?
Loving someone.
Okay.
Because it goes back to.
What if he's a bum? Remember.
Bum like no job?
Look at men.
No job.
Look at men love us with no jobs. Men love us.
I don't know why they take on that charity work.
Blessing. Sorry, I won't do you like that. They'll genuinely love us. No job. You could just be like, oh, I'm so happy to see you when they see you.
But they have to work still. So like they're still providing the lifestyle, right? So hell no. I'm not gonna no.
It's just this is what Kevin Samuels would say. That's what the men do when they make up a lot of money. They know they gotta marry a bum. They gotta take down.
Like I said, a lower paying job, cool, but
bums.
not.
I'm just kidding.
But not no job, because no job is like, why not?
What about McDonald's?
Like the manager, like the region manager.
Let's try to make it better. Stop trying to make it better, Brittany. What?
Oh.
Yeah, flipping burgers. Don't worry. He got a raise from 12 to 15 an hour.
I'm gonna need my honey bunch to try harder. I can't. He's got to aim higher than me.
But he's jacked. He's in the gym.
I see what you're trying to do, and I just cannot. No.
Look at it. So that's your option. That's option one. You love him. He's the smooth talker. You know the type. They make us all fall in love.
Absolutely.
Then you forget their bums. So because they had to have the time to learn how to talk.
Absolutely.
Guys with jobs, they don't have the time. They don't have the time for this.
Right.
So you really love him. He knows how to talk, make you feel nice, whatever. But he flips burgers for $12 an hour. However,
this is a really detailed hypothetical.
You could also, that's why it's fun. You could also, we need to visualize it. He's also jacked. Now, the old guy, let's say, so you're 30. Let's make him 57. I like to be exact. 57 with a beer belly. You're not really attracted to him, but you're not even worried about child support. This man's so rich, you're not even worried. You are chilling you got the car, see, and you had both, and you left for some cheating, respectfully. But now these are your options. Hit 30, the wall has come. You're walling.
I am walling right now. That neither one sounds appealing.
No, you got to pick one.
Oh my God.
I understand. You'd rather die alone than do that.
I'd rather die alone.
I understand. But now there's a gun to your head. You have to pick the man. And man number 2 works a lot. He's driven. He's so driven. You know.
But I'm not that attracted to him?
No. It's a little simpy.
I like a little simpy.
Okay. She's smiling. She's thinking about security. She's thinking about it.
So which one really loves me, though?
They both really love you.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, you got to pick one.
Oh, I feel like a part of me is like shallow, and once the guy like I want to, I don't know. I feel like it's where I'm a little shallow with looks.
The hot guy. The foam. We call that the guy at the foam cannon party.
What does that mean?
Okay, I'll explain. So we shout out Rilla Tomasi. So the guy at the foam cannon party is like the guy that women sleep with right away, but he's like they don't look at as long term, so they sleep with him quicker. Where the guy they feel like they can lock down like makes him
they make him jump through hoops.
Right, because like the first one they have like the animal more like genuine desire for.
Yeah.
And they're like, ah shit, you don't have a job. Yeah.
I feel like that's my God to honest truth. Like I would rather date the trainer or date the guy at McDonald's that loves me because I can't. That's basically like a sugar daddy. And if I wanted a sugar daddy, I would have got one years ago. Like I don't want one now just because the options are changed. No, because it still is like I mean I don't know. I get it because he has money. It's not technically aiming low, but it's like.
I understand.
I don't know. I feel like both could use work. One, like, let's get you a different job. So and then even the older guy, let's get you in the gym.
This is what the men want us to know. This isn't build a man. This isn't build a bum. Build a bear. You can't build men.
You have to accept them as they are. Yeah. That's why I feel like a lot of us women, if, you know, we don't want to, if we don't want the bun, we don't want the beer belly, we're going to die alone.
Oh, I got a question. Can you turn a hoe into a housewife?
If the hoe, and I put that in air quotes on purpose, the hoe, if the hoe wants to be a wife, it has to be her. She has to want that in her heart because you can't make someone be something they don't want to be. So, yeah, like I feel like you would have to want that. I don't think a guy can make you be that. I mean, you still have to be, even if he was like willing to maybe show you the ropes and teach you, you'd have to be the first person that wants that. And I think there was a couple that you had used last night. I can't remember the couple, but you had said, I think you're talking about
Kim and Kanye. Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking about them. I don't really think she cares about being someone's wife.
No, she doesn't.
If she doesn't care about being someone's wife, then she's not going to be wife. So you can't change that. So that's why my answer is you can't make someone you cannot make them be what they do not want to be.
That's what my dad always would tell me. Like, he would always say to let people, like, the biggest mistakes people make is trying to control people and make them into something they're not. And, like, people are who they are.
Yeah.
And that's what, that's why I said you were the least delusional one on that planet. I think sometimes your idea of love is like La La Land.
Yeah.
And I think, as women, we've been sold a dream. But, I think you took more responsibility more than the other girls on those panels.
I think that's like the first step, right? You have to admit and you have to own your truth. So it may not be, like I said, there's a lot of harsh realities with my truth, but that's okay. I'm in my truth. Whatever is meant to happen is going to happen.
Well, thank you for sitting down with me.
Thank you for having me.
Tell them where to find you. Any social media you want to plug?
I do. You can find me on TikTok because I'm tic-tac-toeing now. At the Brittany Renner. You can find me on Instagram at Bundle of Brittany. I'm going to be doing more on my YouTube channel. So it's Brittany Renner with 2 R's. Or else Twitter, Brittany Renner with 2 R's. And I am going to be doing my own show in 2023. So be on the lookout for that. And I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming. Also, look for me in her new book.
Yeah, when I write my second book, gonna expose Pearl.
No, I would like a chapter. Yes. I want nothing but good things.
Absolutely.
I want it to be just like,
virtuous, amazing woman.
Yeah, that's. I like that one. Okay, guys, like the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel. Let me know. I want to do more of these sit-down interviews. I'm trying to do more one-on-one stuff, so let me know who you want to see me interview. Also, everyone's asking about the video being released. I said this earlier, but Friday, likely Friday. On top of that, I'm going home for like a month, so I won't have shows for December and like half of January. I'll post when I know exactly when I'm coming back. In the meantime, at the same time I usually do my show, Auntie Jenny and King Riches is going to be doing their show. So make sure you guys subscribe to both of their channels and go watch there. We are here managing talent, which is great. So like the video on your way out, subscribe to the channel. Okay, what up, guys? We just had our 100th episode, and we had Andrew Tate on. We recorded it. It's not uploaded yet, but we had some of the guests from the panel. We have a special guest, Brittany Renner. And we're just having a light conversation after. And we have a lot of these conversations after shows where even where it's like super heated, we'll all sit down and like chat, and you guys don't really get to see it. So I decided to do a quick live and just show you guys what happens after shows. So we were just talking about your experience on the show. Yeah, Little Miss Hate video.
Yeah.
Yeah, you.
What I said. Yeah, no,
But I should write you a check for all the money I made off the hate video.
Don't give her any ideas.
And then my question to
a check. I want a check.
Sorry. I said I should. I didn't say I would.
Yeah.
my question to you was, what part of the hate comments resonated with you to where you were like, okay, why does this hurt me?
I think it hurt me because I love men. And obviously what those men were taking from the episode was that I don't like men, I'm misandrist, and they were saying, oh, this is why she'll be single forever. And I'm like, I have men, you know, and I love them. So it's like, why are you coming from me in that way, like making me feel like I have no value just because I'm talking about my opinions and stuff. So I think that's what really got me, because I don't want to be seen like I'm anti-men. Do you know what I mean? That's not what I'm about. Like, I'm just about women having their rights, women having their autonomy. That's it. But men, do your thing. You're kings. We love you, you know? That's kind of what I want to be known for. And I think I didn't like that I was seen in that light. And it made me think, is it the stuff I said? Are they misconstruing what I said? Do you know what I mean?
Right. It's definitely what you said and how you said it.
Yeah.
What do you think I said, though?
And I'll tell you why. Because I watched the interview as well. And I'll compare myself to you. Because me and you, listen.
But you get hate too, though.
Listen,
all the time.
Exactly. I'm the troublemaker for a reason, because I come here and every single time I'm on one of the episodes, there's people saying, "Papa, papa, papa, papa." I've had people approach me in life, in real life, to say to me, "You're basically 30 now, and you ain't got a man. I need to take you to my church." And they were actually quite intentionally haterific in my face. But guess what? This is the thing. I really don't care, because what I believe is my truth. And whatever people are telling me doesn't stick to me, because their hate towards me is more sometimes a reflection of themselves, because they cannot understand how Denalva can say all of these things and still feel good about herself. I don't really care if somebody's telling me I'm 30, I'm going to be on my own and I don't have a man, because my truth is that if I want to be with somebody, I can work for it.
But
and
the thing about me is
it.
I reflect on myself a lot. I feel like everyone should. And if you feel like you're doing something wrong, and if a lot of people are saying the same thing, I have to think, wait, am I doing the right thing? Is what they're saying true?
Why?
So I think, obviously, I have self-confidence in myself, yeah, but I also need to reflect and actually think, okay, I know what I believe in. Am I being delusional? You know what I mean?
But why would you take
offense?
Why would you take offense to it? If someone's like telling you something, you can either, if you know yourself, you can be like, okay, they don't know what they're talking about, or you can take it, assess it, take what they said, and then leave the pieces that you're like, yeah, no, that's not me. Why would you get offended by something? Because when I first came on the show, they didn't like me at all. And I was just like, well, I don't know why they don't like me. Or I would listen to what they were saying. I was like, okay, well, maybe I should listen more, take what they say and say and do things differently, or say things differently and understand from them. And if they're speaking a little rubbish, I'm like, okay, y'all don't know what you're talking about. Go on with your life. But I don't think you should get offended. First of all, it's the internet. Everybody gonna say whatever they want to say.
I hate that people always say it's the internet.
It's like, life. Bump the internet. It's life.
People are killing themselves because of the internet. Like, we need to start.
People are killing themselves out. outside of the
actually
internet.
So, you know,
things. We
try
need
to talk into your
censor
mic a little closer.
We need to have a bit of censorship because people just keep saying it's the internet, it's the internet. When I came on the show, it was so overwhelming, like so much like.
But why are you coming on the internet?
But you also remember you also made the choice like you were talking most of the show, and there's people that come on, they don't really know what type of show it is, and they just keep quiet. They're I can see the shock in their face, and I know, but I'm saying like if you see the type of environment you don't like it, you can always just opt out and not say like.
That's when I was gonna leave. As soon as like I was like, okay, this is that type of.
But then you're just walking out.
I was gonna leave.
It's like you're walking out of a situation. It's
exactly.
Like, why?
Then I look back because I'm like, oh, she can't hold her.
But then you.
But why?
You could have just been quiet and said, okay, like when I've maybe been offended silently, and then just when a camera moved, just walked out. Like there's girls that have done that. It's not like I don't force anyone to be here.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't know the type of environment it was. I didn't even know I was coming on the show. Eddie, I'm gonna call you out. Eddie reached out to me, and I thought I was going on his podcast, and then obviously I was here. So I didn't know this was gonna happen. I didn't know. Obviously, now that I know, that's when you invited me for this episode, I understood what it's about. And it's like, okay, don't take anything personal. And obviously, I have a podcast. When I have guests come on my show. I'm very like I care about how they feel because I'm a massive believer in protecting people's mental health because I've seen what people go through. Like people want to kill themselves because of this stuff, and I don't want to contribute towards it. And I don't care if it's an entertainment. I do not fucking care. We need to protect people's mental health, and that's how I run my show. And a lot of shows that I've been on, like even stand-up TV, I got a lot of hate.
Wait,
but
how are you?
Wait. Harry was like, guys, please just check in. Is everyone okay? Obviously, I didn't get that from you, and it was just very like.
Well, actually,
but do you realize? No one forced you to say anything. No one forced you to put yourself out there. You were saying the thing. So how is because Pearl didn't reach out to you to see if you were okay because everything happened.
I'm not blaming Pearl.
No, I know you're not.
It's a bit toxic.
But you were saying things like Pearl said. If you didn't want people to come after you, you could have just sat back. But you kept
have followers. I didn't know.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you don't know the followers. It's life. People are gonna come at you no matter what. Internet, off the internet. So if you don't want people coming at you, it's just like, okay, sit back, not say anything.
It's just an accountability thing. Like I just feel like when Andrew was talking about how everything in life is your fault, I literally believe that.
Yeah.
Because it's like you know, when that girl came on and she like got a couple points on me, and honestly, like I felt like she was just arguing. Like I just felt she came in like heated, right, and like ready to say all this stuff, and I just wasn't prepared. But like instead of saying, oh, like she clickbaited me, she did this, and this, I'll be like, you know what, I wasn't prepared. Right. I'll take my L. I'll let her get her TikTok clout off of it. But it's like
I take accountability is I should have asked more questions to Eddie. So when Eddie was like, oh, you want to come on a YouTube channel, and that's literally what he said, a YouTube channel about relationships, I should have asked which YouTube channel. Because he's a podcaster, he has a podcast. I just assumed that
what was stopping you when you got here? I know that was his show. Okay, but like, what was stopping you when you got here and you realized it wasn't his podcast from like Googling the podcast you were on?
I didn't Google it because we're already here.
And,
but started.
I know, but I'm saying you usually get like a half hour before the show starts. People like will chill out, hang out, whatever. So you could look up the podcast. You could see the titles within 5 minutes of research, and I've had people do that. And leave.
Just leave. Yeah. You live and you learn. And this is why I will never accept any invitation to any show, any podcast until I know exactly what I'm walking into.
But here's the thing, like I'm not
trying to get insulted.
I just tell you something.
I just feel like walk into anything, be brave. Like
it's opportunity.
I'll walk into any room.
If you would have never came on, you wouldn't be sitting here. If you would have left, you wouldn't be sitting here. It's an opportunity.
Listen, and that's the truth. Every single time, especially when it comes to the internet, you know one thing. There'll be people that like it. There'll be people that don't like it. Especially if you now have an opinion that is strong, whatever that opinion is, be ready to face the backlash. Because I met you through Castillo. When I went on his show, I knew that there was a possibility that people go against me because I come with a different personality and I'm always ready. The moment the camera is on, I know the consequences of my actions. So there is no excuse to go somewhere and be like, the camera is on and now your haters are, your followers are haters and now you are this and you are that. You go on that, you be ready for anything. It's showbiz. That's how it is.
I have to keep bringing it back. You're Sagittarius.
You
guys are thick.
No, I'll tell you the difference.
I'm a Pisces.
No.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what sign you are.
Okay. No.
Wait. Actually, wait. She said you're a Pisces.
She's a Pisces.
So why is she okay?
Because you didn't come for her. There was nothing. Like
if anything, Brittany has more of a reason to hate me than anyone here.
Supposedly, Pearl posted a video.
I felt attacked. No, I mean, no, I didn't feel attacked. I felt like because Pearl is not in my situation, I feel like it's easy to be like, oh, well, you made a mistake. Because let's go back to what she said during the podcast, which was we were talking about the kid stuff. She's like, well, you made a poor choice. These are the repercussions. I can see how you feel that way, but like, let me try to break it down for you so you can understand. So I get it. It's like, if you're not, it's all fun and games until it's you. So that's where for me, like, it's not even like, oh, she's coming for me. I'm just trying to explain to her, this is my perspective. It takes two to tango. Don't put all that on me. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I open my legs and I can have a baby or not, but I can't have a baby without semen. You know? So yeah, I didn't feel like I feel like Pearl's inner like her style too. Like I've told her before I actually like really like the past few days did like a deep dive watching all of you guys like really getting into it. Like I felt like there was this unlikable quality to her because she was not going to say her personal experience, but she's going to ask a question that you're like, girl, you're a woman. Why are you trying to go against us? But like, I feel like it still poses for good conversation. And when I watched her wife's school, when I really like was talking to her outside of it, I'm like, I could see her personality. So I feel like understanding her personality, and then when it comes time in here to interview, you're gonna get a little bit of a different person.
Because you did a research, you knew her.
But it's also your responsibility to do your due diligence
for
too.
2
You know what I mean?
seconds, let me tell you, Esther,
but again, 30 minutes. It doesn't take long to research me.
We are on the same boat. No.
Thing on my mind is,
Esther, you need to relax. No, because you've talked a lot. Let me stop you for 2 seconds because this is the truth. What I don't like and what I will not stand for is somebody that actually had the exact same experience as me be upset because you could not handle it with the substance of the woman that you are. Pearl and anybody on this podcast, what they did to you that night is they won. You lost every time. No, it is. It is. Wait.
We are.
I beg. No. You're cutting me off, and this is the problem that they had with you then, because you're not willing to listen to where you went wrong. You went wrong because you were not strong enough in your opinion. I've come here. I've got way more hate than you. All the super chats, every single comment on there is about Denalva, how she's delusional. She'll end up on her own. I'm older than you, so on top of that, I'm even more of a target. I'm single too. So I've had that sort of attitude. In fact, on that same day that I came, Sarah came for me. A man came for me and he told me a lot of things. And I held my own. Why? Because as a woman, I stand on my own 2 feet. I believe my truth. And ain't no thing that nobody can tell me, 1 or 2 that can make me change my mind because I know who I am. If you're coming on the internet and you're going to put your voice out there, be sure that you know who you are because people will come to you. And if you doubt yourself, that's where it goes wrong. Your problem was that you were weak to come here. No,
it's about I'm not here to argue. It was a podcast. I thought we were all just talking about our opinions. I didn't know it was going to be.
But what if someone doesn't agree with your opinion?
Exactly, that's fine. Right. You're not agreeing with me. It's okay. But it's when you're saying my faith is weak.
Okay, so hold on. I wanna go to that. Hold on. I wanna go to that.
She was there.
Because if you look at it, because I was sitting there and you were talking, if you look at it, and you listen to what you're saying and how you say you believe this way, you went one place and you changed your whole belief system. It's like, how can you be this and then go somewhere, instantly change it? Because of you saying that, sitting in this seat right here, it gave other people a perspective that you weren't strong enough in your faith to go to another place to where it was a different environment, different religion, different everything, to be able to stay strong in that as soon as you got there, or not as soon as you got there, but when you got there, it changed, it flipped. So from the words that came out of your mouth, it gave other people a perspective, and that's what they were saying to you. It wasn't that they were saying
we're on a podcast with lots of people talking.
Mm-hmm.
You guys didn't even let me finish. You didn't let me.
No, we did let you. We did let you finish. Yes, we did. We did let you finish because you.
Explain is that's how it started. Where I started to. It wasn't because I went to China. It was because I just started reflecting on life. So I'm not saying I literally just went to China and my faith just changed.
But that's what you said.
No, I didn't. But you guys, that's what I mean.
Okay, but even if okay, let's say it. Okay. Even if it happened over
something else.
Even this what you're doing right now is emotional response to something that you can just say, do you know what? I did get emotional, but I fucked up. Fuck you, the haters. I'm a G. I'll still stick by what I stand. My faith is not weak. I went to China. I just saw a different perspective and I reanalyzed. Bam! Situation finito.
I just feel like I don't really benefit from it. Do you know what I mean?
You do.
To me, it's not really something I want to talk about.
But you don't benefit from reacting like this and putting something out there, not allowing for people
if you
to
didn't want to talk about it, you went on another podcast and talked about it.
I spoke about it because when we went on Eddie's show, do you know Eddie orchestrated the whole thing, right? So we went on the show. We were meant to talk about I can't even remember, women and
he said Soraya wanted to talk about it. Was that not true?
No, that's a lie. So Soraya was talking about her experience, and then Eddie was like, "This is good content. Let's film," and he just started filming. So obviously,
you have the power to say, "Don't film anymore."
What is your experience? Obviously, I'll say it with my chest.
You don't have
I didn't
to.
feel like you were rude, and I said it on the show. But that's just is what it is. I'm ready to move on from it because it is just what it is. I don't agree with that way of conducting. I don't care about thick skin. We don't need to be thick skin. I'm sorry.
You do have
I'm sorry. We need to have censorship because
no.
unless people know what they're going into, we need to have
my sister. If we had censorship, then who's the one that's going to control that? Because if we have censorship, according to Pearl's followers, I should be shut down immediately.
But now what I'm trying to say is not everyone is you.
And exactly. Then the whole point is don't come. The whole point. No, I'll tell you something. The whole point. No, stop. The whole point is if you ain't like me, don't go and talk like you like me. Don't go sit against somebody like Pearl.
No one's trying to be.
I beg. No,
one's trying to be you.
Even what you're doing now is rude. That's why you. This is why you're put on, and I'm not gonna move on. I will finish my thoughts. I will tell you because you are the problem with modern women, and I'll tell you why. I am not, because I stand here and people come for me, and as the strong woman, I bet you're cutting me off. You're cutting me off the same way. You're cutting. No, I don't care. First of all, you're younger than me. You're rude. Second of all, this is the reason why you got into the trouble that you got into. Because you're disrespectful, you're rude, and you don't know how to look back. I beg. I don't care because I don't want to, and I am very much entitled to finish my thoughts. Thank you. If you don't interrupt me, then I'll tell you very, very well done to you. Because I'll tell you something. When you come on the internet, wherever you go, you think you got a voice, you stand by it. You don't take it back and get upset because somebody didn't agree with you. I've had way more hate than you. I've had a lot more rejection and a lot more reactions against me than you have had, and I stood here, and the reason why it didn't stick to me is because I am not weak. I stand in my thoughts, I stand in my beliefs, I stand in my truth. If you are not a woman that can speak in her truth, do not put yourself against people that will go against you. It's that simple.
So many times.
No, you're full of excuses. You're full. Then you should have got up.
You want that clout?
Okay. Guys. Okay, let's. Okay.
And why didn't you?
Okay.
You should have got up.
Why you're so hyped about it? Like, what the
Because you're talking shit now.
You're talking shit.
No, because it's
not about you. You keep making
Esther,
about I can handle it.
It's about the fact everybody cares about how
some people want to handle it, some people don't. I don't want to come here to receive it.
You are the exact example.
Stop making it about yourself.
It's not about me. It's about the fact.
You're making it about yourself.
Bro, you went against somebody like Pearl, and this is about Pearl. I won't even make it about myself.
Let's dick cry.
Pearl came for me the same way. In fact, I argue with Pearl way more than you do. I've been on this show way more times than you have. I faced Auntie Jenny way more times than you have.
Why is it about
Wait.
Oh my God.
Shut up and listen.
You're so obsessed with
Be quiet
yourself.
No, she's giving what she is. She's giving an example. She's saying that she's been in your. But listen.
I beg. I'm not doing this for clout.
No, but she's not saying that she's doing it for clout. She's giving an example that she's been in your shoes. but she's handled it a different way. She's taken
and I
it.
said, well done
No,
to her.
but it's not about
But
saying,
why are we still going back?
I beg,
and forth
because
about it? I
you've
wanna
not
move
let me
on.
finish. You've not let me finish because you say you want to move on. If you want to move on, let me finish speaking because I'm more stubborn than you and I'll not stop until I finish my point. And my point simply is, if you are not willing to take shit, don't go and talk. If you're not willing to stand your ground as a woman, don't go out there and be going for a fight. If you're not ready to fight, you exit the situation straight away. If you want to stay and fight, you stand tall and you fight. I'm not afraid to sit here and argue with Pearl or Auntie. You're still cutting me off.
Listen.
You had a conversation that didn't go your way. You didn't like what you heard, and now you're labeling Pearl to be misogynistic, racist, and this and that. When I've had the same experience on the podcast you did, I've had the same experience. I've had bigger head-to-heads with both people that you're referring to, and I don't feel the same way because I understand it's not personal, it's not about race. It's about who are you? What do you stand for? How much do you respect yourself and what you think and what you believe? And clearly, for how you have acted, even how you're acting right now, it's not very high.
I just think you're dick riding.
I don't need to dick ride.
Because I told you how I feel. And
Yeah,
I
and
don't
how
care
you
about
feel.
how you feel. I do not care about how you
even
feel.
when you say it, you expose yourself.
How come you can express how you feel, but
Thank you.
she can't
And
express
then all
how
of a sudden
she,
you don't care
how
about
she
how I
feels?
feel.
Because at the end of the day, you asked about my experience, right? If we're gonna talk about denial,
I didn't ask about your experience.
Don't bring it about your experience about my experience.
Okay,
no,
fine. My experience
is disjointed.
Let's make it denial and forget about Esther. Let me tell you, a powerful, strong woman that respects herself and holds her truth will sit here and have people shouting in her ear, telling her that she was not abused for 5 years because she didn't report it to the police. And guess what she does? She sits there with composure and says, you say what you got to say. I know my truth. And by the way, my sisters, if you need help, I'm here for you. It's that simple. I don't care about what these people have to say because in my opinion, they talk shit because their truth is not my truth. Simple. Simple. Nothing more, nothing less. And instead, you choose to sit here, shout, and be rude, and to the point where you were shouting. I beg, wait. To the point that you're swearing at me.
You swear at me too.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I didn't.
You're like, oh, that shit. You're talking shit.
No. I did that. Actually, there's something else. I did answer. Wait, stop. Because you're fighting against the person that stands on your side. Listen, be quiet for 2 seconds. You're still shouting. No.
So you've been shouting.
Now you move because they speak to you. You know they listen.
Raise your voice at me. I'm gonna raise my voice back.
Esther,
No.
you are the problem with
You're
modern
the
women.
problem.
It's
You're
so
the
embarrassing to
problem.
sit here and hear a sister like you speak to a woman like me in the way that you have spoken to me. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. People are sitting here trying to give you pointers so that you can survive better. I beg. Shut up for 2 seconds.
Why are you doing so much for
Listen,
man?
be quiet.
You're proper.
Be quiet, Esther. Be quiet because you need to learn from people that are doing better than you. Actually, it's not about cloud chasing. It's about putting you in your place.
Yes, you are.
Esther, stop for 2 seconds because if you
Can we please move on?
No, we can't.
Can we move
Until
on?
I finish my point.
I don't want to
I'll let her
walk out. Then
move on.
walk out because this is
you're doing too
walk
much.
out. If you walk out, I won't walk out. Walk out. Who's stronger, me or you?
Pearl, please.
Who's stronger?
Oh, let her. Okay.
Someone in the comments was like, Jerry.
Denalva, okay. Esther. Denalva, guys.
All right.
Okay. Esther, Denalva, I'll give you 30 more seconds. Can you finish your point in 30 seconds?
Okay.
And then I'll give you 30 seconds to respond and then we'll be done.
Perfect.
Okay?
My point simply is, ladies, if you're going to open your mouth, be ready for the consequences that will come after your words. If you're going somewhere and people are coming for you and you cannot handle it and you can feel upset, it's because you are not comfortable with who you are. Don't blame it on other people. It's really that simple. Don't come here, call Pearl names if you are not the G that can actually sit there and debate intellectually without any issues. That's that simple. Emotional response is weakness. There you go. It's an intellectual debate.
Okay, Esther, you have 30 seconds.
What I have to say is, when I was invited on the show, I didn't know I was coming on Pearl's show. Eddie invited me onto a YouTube show. I take accountability because I should have asked and made sure I clarified which show I was going on. I didn't know. I've never seen this type of show before. I would have not opted in. I wouldn't. I don't like aggressive going back insulting each other. I'm a presenter. You know, it's not good for my brand. I don't do that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's like when I came here, I was just like, wait, we're going against trans people. Like
time's up.
That was too much for me.
Time's up. Okay.
That's what it is.
Okay.
Just let
okay.
people
Time's up.
Okay.
30 seconds. How are you?
Time's up. Your time's up, Denalva.
Just saying.
Okay. Let's talk about something else. What was the other thing we were talking about? Oh, we were talking about body. Oh, go ahead, Brittany.
Oh, no,
go ahead. You've been
I was
waiting.
just thinking because
I'll give you 2 minutes.
no, I'm good. I feel like it would just be probably for the viewers and everybody out there. I feel like it would be interesting to hear everyone's perspective on how they feel about the 100th episode and sitting with Andrew Tate and like really kind of seeing how his energy is in person. Because a lot of people are most likely never going to meet him.
Yeah.
So I feel like we all got a chance to kind of.
Yeah, that's a good idea, Brittany.
I don't know.
So, Brittany, why don't you start? What did you think?
Miss Brittany.
I felt like he was really polite in person. I didn't expect him to be, like you said, so smiley, very warm. And I will say that I do feel like he is very pretty grounded. He is fair. There were just things, obviously, I just don't agree with about the being agreeable to the point of where it's not your own identity. But I also understood where he was coming from. I understood the perspective. I don't agree, but no, I felt like he was like so different in person, and I feel like that's why you can't really judge people based on that. He was just different. I don't know. Am I tripping? Did you guys feel that way?
No.
Go, Denava. Why don't you? 45 seconds.
I liked him a lot. I remember when he got cancelled, I said the only problem with this guy is the fact that he's exposing certain truths and not providing a solution to those who are suffering from it. That's it. Other than that, listen, he's better looking in person. Yes, I tried to hate on him. He's better looking in person. He's smiley. He's friendly. He's got high energy. He's a good Sagittarius, sunshine in human form. He's actually quite cool. I liked him.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like he was a straight talker. And you know what? I really rate the way he speaks. He really knows how to speak. Like, it will add context and then he'll make his point. I think it takes a lot of talent to do that. And you can tell he's been doing it for a long time. So I have to respect that in him. Obviously, I didn't agree completely with a lot of stuff you were saying because I feel like he was a bit one-sided where he was talking about what men wants and he wasn't really talking about how to make women happy. But I appreciated that he was also giving us a perspective of a lot of men out there. Yeah. So I did appreciate that. But I just wish we could like explore more about what women want, really.
Okay. But I just think that society is always talking about what women want. Set the timer. I just feel like society's always talking about what women want. And whenever we talk about what men want, like we always need to have a response. And it's like, why can't we just let the men talk for a second? Because like there's Steve Harvey like talks about what women want all the time. There's a million different shows. As for Andrew Tate, I was actually so nervous. I don't know why. Like I was.
Ciao.
What?
I was too.
I was
this whole day.
I was. I think I was. I kind of think I was a little quieter because I was like, I'm just like nervous. I don't know why, but he was so nice. It was really nice. If a lot of people don't know, we were supposed to go to all of us. We're supposed to go to Dubai. My passport expires within 6 months, so we couldn't actually like get in. I couldn't get in the country. So he actually came to us, which I thought was really like kind of him to come, like fly all the way here. But yeah, he was really nice. I was really nervous, but overall, I already liked him before. I didn't like him the first time I saw him. If you see my very first reaction to him, I was actually mean because he had a cheating party. And I was like, what is this cheating party? It was like he would invite all his girlfriends over at the same time. Where like all the girls that you would cheat with and like they would just go to the same bar. And it was kind of funny, but I was like, what? Why would you do that? But I didn't understand what. But now that I understand his worldview a little bit more, I was like, oh, well, that's why.
Yeah. He was very, from the stuff he was saying like beforehand, from watching Kevin Samuels with Pearl, it opened up my view on like actually listening to people or listening to what these men are saying instead of just taking a clip and taking for how these people are clipping it and wanting to get their agenda across, but actually like, listening to them. And I like sat down and like actually listened to some of the stuff that he said beforehand. So I was like, what he is saying is not crazy. It's the way he's saying it, and people, a lot I was like, people and a lot of women don't like the way that he is saying it because it's very like raw, like this is it, this is how I'm gonna say it. I don't care if you don't like the way I'm saying it. I'm gonna say it this way. And I feel like a lot of people don't like it like that, but it's like if you get past what he's like, how he's saying it, and listen to actually what he is saying, it's like, oh, okay, it's not as outrageous as people make it out to be.
Facts.
Yeah.
That's why I actually purposely didn't really go and look at his content because I was like, I want to see who he actually is and what his energy is actually saying because I understand the same way that people say, oh, you clickbaited, you edited this way to make me look worse. It's the same way that it happens to him. And realistically, he was way more balanced and actually a lot more kind of calming in his presence than what it actually seems online. I'm not gonna lie, he spoke sense. There was a lot of balance in what he said, and I know people were expecting me to clash with him, and I didn't. He was cool. I liked him. It was funny. He had a bit of banter as well with his Clementines and stuff.
I think the only thing I didn't agree with was like him talking about a man will cheat, like women are delusional. Like I think that's not a good message.
If they have the opportunity to, they will. If they have like the
it's okay. I'll give you an example. Even a good man would have a hard time being in Tiger Woods' positions. Having a bus full of models waiting for him that are trying to fuck him every single day. It's like even a good, like my dad, I'll give you, he's top 1%, doesn't cheat. But my dad doesn't have social media and he doesn't have beautiful models waiting for him every day after work. I think that would be hard for even a good man to say no to. Like even my dad, if he was in a position where beautiful women are trying to do that every single day, that's hard. That's really hard for a guy.
Women get approached as well. In fact, women get approached way more than men.
True. But it's not usually by men you want. I would also argue that it would be hard for a woman to stay faithful if every day she was approached by high value men.
That's true.
So, like you've been in that position. It's if every day you're getting messages from like the top men in society. I think that's hard for women to turn down. We're hypergamous. So it's not really about the quantity of men that approach you, it's the quality.
I think just morally, I think everybody knows that cheating is wrong. Like Tate even said it himself. When a woman cheats on a man, the pain that he feels, so they know it's wrong innately, but they think that they have that pass to do it because I'm a man, I'm a high value man. And it's like, do you know that pain that you felt? She feels that.
I agree with you. I've been cheated on. It was really hard. But at the end of the day, it's just not the same. Because like at the end of the day, like I could get past it because I was like, you know what, it was just a random, it wasn't like he wasn't in love with her. But like the way we would feel if a man was in love with someone else, that's how men feel about us cheating on them sexually. Like there's just
do you think it's because there's just like how do I want to say this? Do you think it's because men are weaker in that department to where it's like, oh, I can't believe you had sex with guys before you even met me because that's my pussy. You know what I mean? Like, I almost feel like it's because there's such a gap in where women really are and where men are emotionally and mentally.
No, I just think it's like we can't undo biology. Right. So like we can't undo the thousands of years of biology. And how did you pass on your genes to the next generation? For women, it was getting the best man that they possibly could, the strongest, tallest, biggest, highest status, because then your kid would survive. That meant he could protect you. He could pass on resources to you and your kid would be strong and would be able to protect itself. For like vice versa, for men, it was, I don't want to pass on resources to a kid that's not mine. So it was, I can't have a promiscuous woman because the kid might not be mine. My genes might not even my genes might not get passed on. So even though like we're in 2022 and we have like different things that offset this stuff, you can't undo our biology.
But I also think it's accountability. I think like Brittany was saying, Tate, you're literally like the male version of me and you're praised and I'm shamed. I think it's because we are not holding these men accountable. Like you would say, you basically called Brittany a hoe before you met her. That is so unfair. And I think if we started to say, no, Brittany, not just Brittany in that situation, not calling you a hoe or anything, not in that situation, say, Tate's a hoe, Brittany's a hoe, actually hold each other accountable.
But it's
not
you know
just
what
the
happens
women.
and it's
I think
just
women
it's
are being
just.
held
But
accountable
here's the
and
thing.
men
Like
aren't.
on the other side, when you were what 8? When was the first time you got messaged by someone with a blue check mark, or like any attention?
Probably when I was like 2021.
Okay, 2021. She got the world at her fingertips. Like just by being beautiful, right? She can get messaged from like the top men in society. It's not the same for men. When a man's 2021, no woman's checking for him. Maybe a very select few, but even if they're very good looking, like they're not getting shit from rich girls.
No, but what I'm saying is the men that are getting those women, like actually saying that it's because it's not right. At the end of the day, cheating is wrong. Men or women, biology or not, it's wrong. And I think if we actually start to say, you know what, this man has got 3 baby mamas, you're fucking ridiculous. You're playing with STDs.
And here's the actually but the thing is, it's such a who's at fault when most 80% of women, 90% of women are sexually active, but only roughly 5 to 10% of guys can do what you're saying. So it's the women are more promiscuous than the men. It's like the problem you're talking about is so minuscule. It's so small. Like maybe 20% of men
I wouldn't say women are more promiscuous.
No, the reason why men cheat still. Why you keep cutting it off though?
Women have more sexual partners now.
What are you doing?
I'm coming for you today. Now I'm your Auntie Jenny. Trust me. You swore at me. Disrespect.
You're doing way too much.
I do not accept disrespect.
Why are you doing
this? Is why men will cheat because somebody's talking to you and you're still cutting them off for no reason.
Pearl, please continue.
So it doesn't even need to be high value.
But do you know what I'm saying? So I'm saying like, okay, they're predicting that 45% of women will be single and childless. That's so much so that the big banks are predicting this. These women that are going to be single and childless and are on the path to that, it's not like they're not sexually active. They're probably sleeping with someone. There's not a plethora of virgins around that are women, but there is 1 in 3 men under 30 are virgins. So who's more promiscuous? If the women aren't virgins, the body counts are getting higher. And where on the other hand, men, it's a very small percentage that can actually get sex and father a bunch of kids. So that's why I say, like, I know Tate tries to, he's like, don't make it a he said, she said, but just by and large, it's more on the women because one, we're in control of sex. We pick who we sleep with and we're more sexually active than them.
In a sense, I agree because on average, yes, you're right. Women are having sex a lot more. However, when we're talking about promiscuity, men have 3 times more sexual partners than women. So men have, I think it's like 24, and
where did you see
like
that?
10.
The last I
Google
checked
Google it right
like,
now.
yeah.
I made sure because I done my research before coming back. I was like, okay, I need to know.
So if that's true, again, it goes back to the Pareto principle, right? So let's say the average number is higher for men. Typically, it's because the top 5, 20%, we'll even say 30% of men, let's give them 30. Like they sleep with 50, 60, 100, 150 girls, but 1 out of 3 are virgins or haven't had sex in the past year. Historically.
Exactly.
But,
that's why I agree with what you're saying.
But that's why I'm saying, like, by and large, women are sleeping with a very small percentage of men.
But those small percentage are ruining it for the other men. So if they keep sleeping with so many women, they're ruining it for the ones that aren't getting laid. So actually, it's that
harsh. You could argue that, but you could also say it's more on the women because we're in control of sex. Most men, like if you went to a biological level, their biology is to sleep with whoever they can, right? Like most men, if you get right, but for the men. Right, where we have to be more selective and sacred with who we give it to, right? Like we value sex more like emotionally than men do. They'll just, and like most men, you get butt naked in front of them. What they're not doing. And so it's like you're telling that small percentage of men, like, oh, don't do that. Okay, fine. But at the end of the day, I think it's more on women because there's more sexually promiscuous women than there are sexually promiscuous men, and it's men's mating strategy to do that. That's their biology, where it's not in our biology to be promiscuous, but we're the ones doing it. But we have this like feminism, empowerment. You can do whatever you want and still be fine. Where it's like, I feel like as women, if like you should come back and say, you know what, wait for someone that loves you. You know, wait for this, wait for that. That's just my opinion on it. I just think it's more on the women because there's more of us doing it than the men.
Yeah,
kind of.
I mean, I don't promote promiscuity, but I just think that there's just a double standard where, like, men are just seen as it is what it is. It's just biological. They should like sex more, but women enjoy sex. They do. Like, it's okay.
Would you know what the biggest problem I would say is? Really, 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 really and truly is the fact that all of a sudden, for one reason or the other, everybody wants to talk about who they are having sex with and who they take to bed, to the point that you disclosing your sexual orientation is something that is even important. At the end of the day, listen, you may know that I'm not a virgin because I told you I was in a relationship for 5 years.
You're not?
Whatever I do, but wait.
Shut up.
I know, shocking, right? But whatever
I thought you were saving yourself.
My sister, listen, whatever I do or don't do is not for people to know. Right? It's not for people to want to discuss. It's not for people, unless I'm going to show you my body, my naked body. I don't need to talk to you about whatever I do in bed with someone else. And I think that's one of the problems that also people are having. They're going to be like, listen, as a woman, you can have sex. Fine. What matters mostly, first and foremost, is how you handle yourself, how selective you may be. At the end of the day, they look for purity to a certain extent. But if you're not a virgin, don't worry, my sister. Handle yourself well. Don't be there expecting men to accept women to just be sexually open and move in certain ways that are mad and not get the repercussion. That is why when I dress myself, I am a beautiful woman with a good body. I am, and I know, and I don't need anybody else to tell me I got a mirror. But guess what? When I walk around, I dress in a certain way. Why? Because I want to display myself in a way that brings back the attention that I am looking for. So when men approach me, they don't approach me like I'm a hoe. When men approach me, they approach me with respect. Everything comes down to how you choose to portray yourself. A lot of women want to portray themselves as hoes and be like, yeah, I'm that girl, hot girl summer. What do you think that's going to do to you? What is that going to do to your other sisters? Handle yourself with more care. I stand here. Like I said, I want to be a role model to every single woman. Be powerful, be strong, be intellectual, be educated. But don't forget, respect yourself. Don't be saying, I fuck who I want to fuck. No, be selective. That's
I
it.
agree. Women definitely need to be held accountable, definitely, because I do think, like Tate said, we are the ones creating the problems for each other. Because if you're opening your legs to any man, now they don't even feel the need to get married anymore because they're like, well, I can just get sex. Like, it's so easy. However, what I'm just trying to say is, we can't just put it on the women because these men are the ones sleeping with them.
But I'm saying for 50 years, we have put it on the men. Okay, there's a lot of little things in society you guys probably don't even notice. And I didn't either before I started really listening to what men say. Like, if you say she got knocked up, it sounds like something that happened to her, not a choice she made. Who knocked her up? He did. We always put the blame on the men. It's very new. This is a new type of content where you put any accountability on women. Watch some early 2000s like Steve Harvey dating it. No, watch some early 2000s Steve Harvey dating advice where these women come up to him and he just says, "Oh, even the idea of, oh, you intimidate guys." No, there's probably something about you that guys don't like. And that's just being honest. Sweet feminine girls don't intimidate anybody. There's probably something about you guys don't like. And then on top of that, it's like, I just think men are never allowed to have standards. Every time a man has a standard, he's shamed for it. So if they say, "Oh, I like thin women, I like pure women," they say he's slut shaming, body shaming. It's not the same for women.
Can I just go back to your other point about the fact that we always put it on men? So I don't agree with that because, again, I did a lot of research into this. Mm-hmm. So 90% of single motherhood is a woman. So in a single parent home, it's a woman that is the single parent. Mm-hmm. How can you say that we're always putting it on men when women are the ones stepping up for their kid?
Mm-hmm. So I'll tell you, you're right. 90% of women are awarded custody. I've actually talked to divorce lawyers about this. They say they love representing women in court. It's much easier for women than it is for men. I'm not saying it's easy either way. Court is tough. But I'm saying, fight for it. I'm saying, I know someone that went through this where he was trying to get custody of his children, and it's very hard because if he leaves the home, then she can not let him see his kids for say 6 months. So with this guy, it was she kicked him they were fighting, whatever. He left. So because she wanted him out of the house, I'm going to clarify, he wanted to be a part of his kids' lives. What happened was because of COVID, his court date kept moving. They kept moving it back. And what happened was she went to court and said, he hasn't been around for 8 months. He hasn't been around for a year. and he'd been trying the whole time. And so it's like there's a lot of situations where men want custody of their children and they can't get it. And there's even men that kill themselves because she leaves, she takes half of his assets, and he takes the kids, and he doesn't have access to their kids. Like there's a whole, it's like men's rights activists. You probably never heard of them. They talk about these issues where like there's a guy in Ohio in the US. His girlfriend or whatever had a baby, and she gave the kid up for adoption. He wanted the kid. He had no rights to his kid. Stuff like that happens all the time, but nobody.
And I don't agree with that.
And so when you
either.
say 90%, like my thing is like we don't think about why don't they have access to their children.
And also, what would you rather? Let me ask you, because you got a son. Would you rather leave your child with a babysitter that is a woman or a babysitter that is a man?
A babysitter?
Yeah, a babysitter, nanny, whatever. A woman or a man?
I mean, I would probably prefer a woman.
Exactly. Exactly. Because at the end of the day, this, although I understand what you're trying to get at, we can't just put it on women and everything like that. But we also have to understand we as women, we've got different talents and gifts. Okay. And I think that's kind of like what a lot of men are trying to get at is like you have a certain talent, which is the power to attract, which means you can get basically any guy that you want if you're easy enough. Okay. So I do understand the rhetoric of saying be more selective because you as a woman have got way more power in your hands to create that interaction than a man would. Fine. Self-control, take your power with responsibility. As a woman, yes, naturally you will stay with your child because you're more nurturing. That's your natural gift. That still doesn't mean that a woman is to be excused for everything. Again, for the sake of argument right here, and also because you've put me in this position where I actually want to stand against you, I will say men and women both are equally entitled to complain about what is going on because both are messing up. A lot of women, they are not fit to take care of their children, but because of the bitterness and anger they have towards the relationship that didn't work out, they make their child suffer. They take advantage of the fact that they're a woman and they murk their man. That is not okay.
And like women, let's just be honest, like women are spiteful. When they hate a man, they hate, and I'm not saying all women, I'm not saying every person does this, but it's like women will use the kids as a pawn. And what happens is a lot of times, even Kanye, that happened in front of us. His another thing they'll do is they can move states, and the father has no say if they gave the woman's like primary custody. And I'm not saying like I know all the ins and outs of the laws. This is just like from talking to divorce attorneys, and it's like, it's just like men, their issues are not brought to the forefront. And it's really sad that, like, you know, a lot of times a big issue is men committing suicide after divorce. There was a guy, I just learned this the other day, so I'm probably going to butcher it. But our most of the domestic violence laws are based off of a system that automatically assumes that the woman's the victim. And in the US. And so it's like a lot of men, when you talk to people that have actually worked in domestic violence, most domestic violence situations are mutually abusive, where the man and the woman are hitting each other. And the men still get put away and the women don't. A woman can just call the cops, and like a cop will come in and automatically, based on their training, assume that the woman's the victim.
Okay, wait. Again, advocate for women that go through these situations. I don't know what the stats tell you. I don't know what the stats are not telling you, because these things you cannot actually regulate because a lot of things go unsaid.
It's from can I just to give you perspective, it's from people that work with these couples and that work at women's shelters will tell you this. Well, so much so that they're like, there is the 3 feminists that came up with the system that the justice, and I'm butchering this, but it's like the system that the justice system is built on that automatically assumes the woman's the victim. They were saying that even in their practice, it wasn't what they saw, that they were saying, you know what, it's actually mutually abusive. But sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say that when it comes to domestic abuse, I believe that women are inherently more vulnerable to be in that situation, because when a woman does commit, and this is why men get upset that women cheat, because when a woman commits to a man, she gives herself emotionally. When you attach to yourself to somebody emotionally, now you are a victim to all of these things. Whereas men, as Andrew Tate quite rightly said, he's got the decision whether he wants to make you 10 out of 10 happy or 5 out of 10 happy and keep you crying here and there, because it is true. Once men get a woman to fall in love with them, they've got the power. That's also what men don't understand, and that's how they mess about. And that's why domestic violence, I believe, is so prevalent amongst women being the victims instead of being the perpetrators. Although there are cases that, of course, the women do take the piss and everything.
But I'm saying people that like work in these environments are saying usually it's mutual. So like people that work like with the couples that try to help them out at women's shelters are saying it's mutual.
Yeah, it becomes mutual, and this is the thing again, having experienced that myself.
So I'm saying, sorry, I'm just gonna finish. So I'm saying it's like this is a way that men are discriminated against. If a woman's abused, there are women's shelters everywhere. There are no men's shelters, and there's all these little things in society that once you see it, you can't unsee it. Where I genuinely believe that men are the most discriminated against group in society.
In terms of emotionally, I do agree with that, just because I do think there's not really much safe space for a lot of men to talk about how they felt. Like there was a video that went viral of Ruger. He was performing at a show and a woman grabbed his private parts. He was so like upset by it, like he couldn't perform. Like he just dropped the mic and just walked off, and nothing would have happened to that woman. Like to me, that is so unfair that he would probably just think, oh, you know what, that's a show. But he got violated. That's sexual assault. And I think there's not a space for men to talk about how they feel and actually what they go through as well, because we hear about women a lot, but not men. So I do agree with that in that sense.
But even, and I talk about this like a lot of times women, we're just like bailed out of bad decisions we make. And it's like, if you're bad with money and you get homeless, you have a women's shelter. Men are just homeless. There's a homeless shelter down the street. I want to do an interview there. Like 90% of the homeless people there are men. But it's like nobody cares unless it's a woman. You know, there was I can't remember. It was somewhere in the Middle East. There was a group of women that were like kidnapped, and it was like national headlines or whatever. There was a group of men that were kidnapped and slaughtered, and they didn't even talk about. It's like they only care when it's women. It's like and when I first heard this stuff, I was like, no. But then once you see it, it's like you can't unsee it.
No, it's
but
true.
Men are, I think that I understand what you're saying, but because men have so much power in society, if a man is homeless, it'll be like, you have so much power.
What percent of men have power? That's like me saying, okay, like when they say, oh, you can get flown out to Dubai and all this stuff, and I'm like, a lot of girls, I'm like, I've never been offered anything. Like I haven't been offered shit. Like, and it's an even smaller percent. It's like 1% of men that really
in like the workplace, right? Because women have to take maternity leave already. They are already.
But you have the choice.
Standard.
You can choose. But you can remember. You could choose
to be a boss.
You could choose not to have kids. And under 30, a lot of women are out earning men in cities. So what do you say to that?
But a lot of women want to have kids though. So that's what I'm trying to say. In society like favors men really. So it's a bit unfair to just say
can I have an example how does society favor men?
Well, like the high paying jobs. I know you're gonna say women don't want to do the high paying jobs, but most of the high paying jobs they favor men. Like a woman has to work 10 times harder.
Let me ask you a question.
Those roles.
Let me ask you a question. The NBA, it's mostly it's like what 60-70% black roughly. Do they discriminate against Asians? There's like no Asians in the NBA.
Oh no, but so you're saying they're better? No.
I'm saying, does the NBA discriminate against Asians? There are very few Asians in the NBA. What I'm saying is, in any group, you're never going to find true equality of outcome. Because different groups like different things. So I think Asians make up like 90-something% of like, they're like typically in the US, please don't come at me for stereotyping. But they make up a higher percentage of like higher education admissions. Yeah. So you're never going to have true equality. And it's like me personally. But I'm saying we shouldn't.
Don't care about men.
No, I'm saying we shouldn't. No, I'm saying we shouldn't fight for true equality because people want to do different things in different groups. And I'm saying in the top 1%, I've seen what it takes to get there. I've seen firsthand. I've seen my dad like grow up. He worked 60, 70 hours a week. He didn't have a life. He didn't have friends. Most women we value a social life. We value having fun. Like what I've had to do the last 3 years to build this. Like, Jess, most girls would not do it.
Oh no, not at all.
Oh no. And it's like, and that's okay, but that doesn't mean women are being discriminated against. It means they don't want to work 60, 70 hours a week. I interviewed top I decided I wanted more rich friends when I lived in Milwaukee. And I just asked executives if I could, like, $1 billion companies, if I could sit there, have a coffee with them and just interview them about their life. And both of them that I got to interview, I could see the one deficit they had in their life. Neither of them really had families. And it was really sad. And you can tell both of them like missed out on a part of life, and you could tell they regretted it. You can't have everything. And women don't want to do those roles because they are ungodly hard. Can you imagine having
some women do.
But
it's a lot harder.
I said
you gotta think, like, in the 90s, women couldn't even vote. This is
in the 90s.
In the 90s.
So
yeah, it was like 1980.
No, that's
that
not
women
true.
got the
It's
right
like
to
the
vote.
20s.
No, it was 1918.
You said in the 90s.
18. Oh, 18. I think you
So
said
in the
1800s. I think you said
1900s,
okay,
in
but
the 1900s,
why
women couldn't even
so
vote.
remember, but why didn't women have the right to vote? Women, so historically, men had to go to war and fight. That is why women couldn't vote, was because if you had the choice today in 2022 and we were in war and you had to go fight on the front lines, would you pick it? Personally, and this is where people will take me out of context and say, I don't think women should vote. Personally, if I, in 2022, had the choice where I had to go fight in the front lines, just like the men, in a war, or I could give up my right to vote, I would give up my right to vote. And that's what happened back then, is they equated voting with going to war. Because
all I'm trying to put it in, I agree with that, because men do take a lot on themselves.
What up, guys? Welcome to the Just
14.
Oh, 2014.
14, yes.
Okay, and how old were you?
I think maybe 21, 22.
Okay, 21, 20. And you were dating Colin Kaepernick at the time?
I wouldn't...
hooking up?
Whatever.
Lincoln?
Let's just say Lincoln.
Sneaky Lincoln?
At the time. And with that, they had photoshopped a picture. I had like posted him for like my Man Crush Monday. This is like Instagram a long time ago when there was Woman Crush Wednesdays, Man Crush Monday.
Remember those.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I had posted him and I put like perfection and then I added him. And again, why I posted on my Instagram? Great question. But someone had photoshopped the image. Media Takeout, I don't know if you ever heard of them, but they had posted it and then TMZ ran the story. And I felt like from that moment on, I was labeled a villain. And you have to understand, I was in a relationship for 4 years. Like most people know the white guy that I used to date. We used to post together. He's the reason I got into fitness. And I was already labeled a villain, a whore, and was accused of something that I didn't do.
And so what did you not do? So they were
So I had put perfection at his username and they photoshopped it to say preggers at his username. So they were like, saying, this girl claims that she's...
They were saying that you claimed that you were...
Yes.
Okay.
And I actually looked it up. I have a screenshot too. I looked it up last night to see if the article was still up, and it's still up. So at that moment in time, I realized that even though per society standards, I was someone who, low body count. No, I had not talked to any famous guy, never been around. I had a big following. An ideal situation, right? Starting out in Hollywood, already labeled a whore, a liar, a gold digger. So when I think about how my origin story began, like my villain origin story, it was that. It's like, I haven't even done anything and I'm already misunderstood. So I think as time progressed, I really just tried to fake it till I could make it. And inside, I never, like, especially in high school, like growing up, I never felt like I was just top tier beautiful because I just wasn't. I was growing into myself. I always had really bad skin, over-fried my hair, always wearing extensions, never feeling pretty as even my natural self, like where I am now. So how I started even like posting videos and being maybe like overly sexual was because I was like, I want to feel like this bad bitch.
So again, I've only seen like clips of you.
Okay.
I've seen a couple car rants. Okay, so I'm just gonna give you a couple car rants. I know you released a book.
Yeah, in 2018.
Yeah, and I know that I saw the stuff you did with Fresh and Fit, PJ Academics, like there's little interviews here and there.
Yeah.
So when we go back to you said 2014.
Yes, 2014.
When you're in LA. So then did you start dating Kaepernick?
I would just say that I started like dating, period. Like I kind of just opened it up. It's not like we were exclusive, whatever. So I would say that the villain came about was I was a small town girl from Mississippi. Like to even be in certain rooms with people where it was unheard of. I never thought these guys would even know I existed. So I felt like there was still that like starry-eyed element where I didn't know what I was doing. I felt like I had been like thrown into Disney World, so to speak, right? And, like the world is at your fingertips. And again, all of these high value men are now seeking you. And again, I'm a girl from Ocean Springs, Mississippi. People don't even probably know where that is. So I think that's where over sexualizing myself and really pitching into that's like the whole bad bitch, like wanting to feel like something I didn't.
So were you sleeping with a lot of these guys? And then like posting stuff on social media? Okay.
No, actually, like I said, besides that post where I had, made him my man crush Monday, I didn't even say that we were dating. It's not like I was like, hey, look at me. Here I am at a game or here I am at his house. Like, it wasn't that. It was just, that's how everything started out.
Okay. So I'm just trying to understand because there's one article that's a one-off, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can kind of recover from one article, in my opinion anyway. But there was more that happened in between. Yeah. What happened next?
Because I'm saying this because this is literally on like TMZ. Right. So after that, when I was talking to him, I kind of moved on because I'm like, whatever, you're robotic, we move on. Kind of got caught up with Trey Songz. So TMZ was like asking him questions about, because like my fitness group was like the Fit Thick Army. So then I was linked to him, right? Okay. So then that's kind of where it just started to.
So then you started.
Shit wouldn't work out. I would move on. Okay. And then, like I especially when I first got on social media, it was a different place, right? Early 20s, guys from all over. I mean, it was just, I would entertain one at a time though. That was like my thing. So I was like, when I'm done with you, I'm going to move on. And then it just became unsuccessful relationships and I moved on.
Okay. So it was just like you were linked with rapper, entertainer.
A lot of my shit was public. And I feel like that's where a lot of people are like, she's a whore. But it's like, there's articles where someone took a picture of me at the movie theater with a guy. That's out of my control. So I would say now, when you've kind of figured out how the world works, you try to be a bit more mindful about who you even step out with, but you can't control if people take pictures of you.
Were you posting any of these guys yourself? So you never posted?
No, because we weren't exclusive.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I'm going to post somebody that's my man. Again, I'm a 21, 22-year-old posted that man crush Monday. That's obviously very childish, right? But all these other guys, I didn't post them on my page.
And so then basically, because you were linked to all these different guys
publicly,
publicly, now that's when the reputation started to go. Then, so this is where. So then the book comes. Tell me.
2018, yeah.
And from what I know, I haven't read the book.
Okay.
What I know of the book is that you basically exposed a lot of people in the book. This is just what I've heard. You basically, all the stuff you'd been doing, you put in the book. And while you might not have said their names exactly, it was pretty easy for people to figure out who they were.
Okay, well, I didn't expose anyone. Okay. My book was like a 25-year-old memoir, basically. Okay. And I didn't list all of these sexapades. So there were seven people, fake names, 7 relationships, like situationships, whatever you want to call them, and what I learned from that. So there was a lot of, my book was about sharing my story and being accountable. The most like salacious stories or sexapades, they weren't even in there because it wasn't, a lot of these guys, it was
you can tell now if you want.
I'm sorry?
I said, you can tell now if you want.
Yeah, I mean.
I'm just kidding.
I mean, it's just kind of like, that was never my intention. My book never had ill intent. Now, again, I know the salacious marketing was intentional because I knew people were thinking I'm gonna.
It's like a thumbnail.
Yeah, it's clickbait. Like, look at all these guys are in here. Yeah, because I know you're gonna fucking buy the book. But when people actually read it, any person who's read my book is like, wait, this is completely different than how you pitched it, and it really is a book about accountability. So those 7 people really were like pivotal moments for me. So again, I took what came with the salacious marketing. And again, misrepresenting myself is just that, right? So you have to accept what comes behind that. So I wanted to sell a book. I had no problem with doing, using my tactics to get copies sold. And what came with that is she's not trustworthy. She's a whore, and that's all she cares about is money. She's just a quick money grab. Like, she's the girl that cannot be trusted. And I understand that. If you've never read my book, it's like what I'm saying doesn't even make sense. It's like you would actually have to physically read it. That's why the book is called Judge This Cover. You're going to do that anyways. There are people that just took little snippets from each chapter and judge me off of that. You're talking about this guy I was talking about spitting in his mouth or paying for flights. That was one that was circulating on Twitter. I talked about how I paid for my own flights. So it's like, I'm such a gold digger, why am I paying for my flights? So there's just things in there that I felt like people did not want to understand me. You didn't open the book, so your opinion doesn't fucking matter about the book. Read it and then tell me how you feel about me. That's kind of how I feel with that.
So then you write the book. Were any of the people that were in the book mad that you wrote the book?
The conversations I've had, because there's maybe like two guys in there that I have not spoken to, right? The other 5 I've had conversations with since. One of the people had actually asked me to market them as one of the people in it. They didn't mind that. Other guys in my life, just in general, were asked like why they weren't in it. They were like sad, right? But most of the guys I have a good relationship with, like we're still cool. So they understood that was my experience, that was my perspective, and that was that. I mean, there was one chapter I spoke to recently. He was like, I was just waiting for you to say my name so I could have sued you for everything, right? And I'm just like, well, that wasn't my plan. Like, I wasn't trying to hurt you. But he was like, I understood your perspective, and I get it. He said you didn't lie in it. So
okay, so none of the guys had hurt feelings over the book.
No.
Okay. Well, so that seems, because I kind of thought, like from what I had heard, is that some of the guys maybe weren't happy they were in the book.
I'm sure they weren't, but I think the people that weren't happy about it, the 2 that I'm thinking of in my mind, I just haven't spoken to them.
Okay.
The other 5 I did. So,
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know how they would feel.
So
now.
you don't think because I'm just thinking, I just know how the guys are going to see it. Like, you're choosing to publicly link with these people, and maybe you didn't want it to be public, but it's like, if you're making a choice to go after the like rappers, athletes, like that sort of thing, of course people are going to call you a hoe.
And that's fine.
Yeah. And no, that's the thing. You don't shy away from that.
Yeah.
But it goes back to my original question, whether you think it's earned or not, or it's like misrepresenting you or not.
Well, I think that I have misrepresented myself because, again, Bundle of Brittany is like her own, that's like a Frankenstein I have created, right? And that's like a fraction, even just the time we've spent the past few days together, probably very different than what you've seen online, So that's what I have used to get views and get clicks, and I've realized that I don't have to do that anymore. So that's where the misrepresentation comes in. But again, a hoe, and I guess is in this sphere, right, is someone who has sex with multiple guys. Okay, well, then that's not a term I'm going to shy away from. I've had sex with multiple guys. Now, I'm not going to take that word and be like, I'm so unworthy, I'm a whore. It just is what it is. Like, that's how they want to distinguish what category women fall under. I got no problem with that. That's fine.
Okay,
I've had sex with multiple guys. It didn't work out. I moved on,
Okay, so that part you don't necessarily feel like was misrepresented based on how the guys would see it.
How they would
see it. Okay.
I get it.
Okay. So then next, this is where I heard of you first.
Okay.
Let's talk about PJ.
Okay.
So you do the book. Is PJ next, or is there something in between?
Meaning like when we met?
Yeah.
So we met. He actually came to my hosting in 2018, May of 2018. So that's like physically where we first met. It was not romantic. Like I literally had a job there. He's like, hey, I'm gonna come by. Okay, cool. He invited me to his game at UK, February 2019. Right. So we met. I went back for my birthday. So I went to 2 Kentucky games, and that's when we first started talking. Like after my birthday, we talked almost every single day. And I was aware, like, he's younger than me. I always had a lot of judgment towards guys who were younger than me because I'm like, you're younger than me. How can you handle me? Right? But I always felt like PJ saw me for me. And that is the fucking God honest truth. It makes me sad even thinking about it. Because, like, I don't know. You just think people get you and it just doesn't work out. So that's why I overlooked some of those things, like the age. Oh, he's about to be in the NBA. I overlooked that because I felt like, oh my God, I finally have a guy who doesn't judge me, who sees me for me and like accepts it and understands my value. So I felt like he was somebody that like deserved all my time and attention. And, you know, it just didn't end up working out long term.
So, and how old was he when it started? How old were you? Because this is the narrative.
He was 20.
I've got a million questions
about you. About the age thing. I'm so glad you brought it up.
About you grooming. Like they said, because
that I'm a pedophile, predator.
What? Just to give context to the viewers at home, if you guys don't know anything about Brittany, I saw a video of you where you were in the car saying this is basically how you can get a kid off of an NBA player. Yeah. And it's really easy because these guys don't wear condoms, and it's something to that effect. So then a couple years later, when you have a kid off an NBA player, it's not a good look. Right. And especially that he's a lot younger than you. So what did you feel like was misrepresented there?
So to give a little bit more context to the video too, especially I think I made this video in 2018 and I was in my car ranting, you know, like I always do. And people were saying that, you know, you're a gold digger, you're this and you're that. And my way to defend myself.
And this was that when you also said that you pay for your own flights too? I would have to go to my archive and play the video in its entirety to be able to confirm that. Because there were other times I talked about paying for my flights. But in that video, I was saying that if I really was a gold digger, I could have several kids by now. And so it was an attempt to make a group of people look bad, and I made myself look even worse because I'm like, what are you guys talking about? I'm a gold digger. These athletes don't use condoms. I could have a baby by then, right? It aged horribly, right? and I don't ever try to deny that, and I don't do apology tours. It is what it is. I said what I said. Like that was my truth. That was my experience. The people that I was encountering, it's not even like an athlete thing. A lot of guys don't wear condoms, but it was surprising to me that people of such high status were a little bit more reckless, right? And for you think they have so much to lose.
Yeah, I guess that's exactly what it is, right? It's like, why do you trust me, right? And that's as a young person, and you're not even a young person.
So in your head, you were saying like, fuck the haters. I could have a kid. None of these people, if you wanted to catch a kid by an NBA player,
it's really easy because they're dumb, right? So that's where the context of that video, right? And then I met PJ, like we started talking when he was 20 years old. We have a 6-year age gap.
Okay, so you're 26.
Yeah.
20. I'm 26. I'm thinking 20-year-olds are pretty immature.
But I'm telling you, when I met him, I just felt like, and like genuinely, he had an old soul. That's how I felt about him. So a lot of people tried to like, I don't know. I feel like they tried to tell me how I felt and like my intentions. And it's like, I know the truth. Like I know the person that I was sitting across from at BJ's when we had our first date in Kentucky and Lexington. Like you can't tell me that, you know?
I personally think 20 is old enough to make your own decision.
Yes.
I put myself when I was 20 and I'm thinking you can't really be groomed at 20 years old. But for some reason, I feel like back then they said that something about you met him in high school.
I did not even know he existed.
Okay.
I didn't. Like, and honestly,
did you see him play in high school?
Never.
Okay.
I don't, but that's what I'm saying. The $200,000 a month, the meeting him when he was in high school. Again, like even when I first was like, I met PJ when I went to Kentucky, I was talking to someone who played on the Nuggets at the time. And it was someone that I kind of had a history with. And when I met PJ and we had that connection, I immediately cut the guy from the Nuggets off. You see what I'm saying? So like, I have my own shit going. I did not know he existed when he was in fucking high school. What? I'm pulling heavy hitters. What am I worried about a fucking kid in high school for? But that's where people just make up their own shit. So it's like, well, I can't really, you guys are going to say what the fuck you want to say. All I can do is sit here and tell you the truth, you know?
So 20, you guys start talking. When did you get pregnant?
I got pregnant.
And you were with him for how long?
We talked.
Were you guys dating or were you like linking?
No, we were exclusive when I got pregnant. So we talked from February 2019 to February 2020. Now, I don't know what he was doing, with who he was doing it with, whatever. But we started dating February 2020. I left California April of 2020, and I moved in with him I had my own place, but I was staying in his apartment. We were basically kind of living together already. He asked me to move in with him in the summertime. I got pregnant August 2020. So we had been a year and a half at least familiar with one another, but exclusive probably those 6-8 months.
6 to 8 months.
Yeah.
And did you say, was the child planned?
Yeah. I mean, my son is Paul Jermaine Washington III.
Okay.
Like
So
he has his father's
you guys
name.
sat down and said, I want to have a kid.
Yes. And I was on birth control for 10 years because I never wanted to go through an abortion. That was just me personally. I'm like, well, if I can prevent it, and I'd rather be safe. And again, like I'm hot, I'm popping, I got shit going on. I'm definitely not trying to have anybody's child, right? So I got off birth control, and there was a conversation, got off birth control, I got pregnant. So it wasn't some, oops, I came in you and you got pregnant. Like, no, it was, I want a family, I want a child, we're gonna get married.
Has PJ ever done like interviews on this?
No.
At all? No. I'm just curious, would he say the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the truth is the truth. You know, I mean, there's some things like, again, we can share perspective,
Right.
but the facts of the matter are he was planned. So that can't even be disputed. You know, I always thought PJ was like kind of quiet and more to himself. So I don't actually see him ever really doing an interview. Like, I feel like now when we broke up, how everything panned out was like very public and out of character from what I knew of him. But I don't foresee him doing an interview. I don't.
Okay, so you guys break up, or no, you're together. Tell me how'd you guys split up? And you can be as detailed or not detailed as you want. You don't have to go into.
Okay. There were some things like, so I had never gone through anybody's phone, and like because at the time I was 28, right?
Girl, you were dealing with athletes?
I never went through anybody's phone.
Never.
Except PJ's.
Okay.
Yep. Because I felt like if I have to go through your phone,
Yeah.
I already have my answer, right? And I'm not doing that. I'm not playing fucking detective, right? So I went through his phone. Again, this was the summer, like, you know, a few months before I got pregnant. Found some stuff in his phone I didn't like. Nothing confirmed. I mean, you're just entertaining bitches. Like, okay. I had never been cheated on that I knew of, right? And I found out stuff that, like, he had sex with someone in the beginning of our relationship. But I'm fine. This was in March. You slept with this girl. I found out July. I had already moved my whole life. I'm already here. Okay, well,
you moved from LA.
Yeah, because I moved from Woodland Hills. I had a condo in Woodland Hills, and I moved all my whole life to Charlotte, North Carolina, to be with him. Right. Okay. So I found out some stuff. I'm like, okay, you fucked this girl in March. All right, I love you, and I know what you've seen growing up. I've never forgiven anyone because I've never caught anyone cheating on me. But like, I understand your family dynamic, so I can. I choose to understand and to forgive you. And so one of my best friends, when we were talking about how we were like basically trying to get pregnant, she was like, do you think that's a good idea? Because you just found out all this stuff, right? Like the voice of reason, right? And she's like, I don't think that's a good foundation. And I was just like, no, I trust who I'm with. Like, I get it. Like, we've talked about it, understand. And he is younger than me, right? He's younger than me. I'm gonna try this. I've never done this, but I'm just gonna try to overlook it and move on. So with that knowledge, again, this is where I take accountability too. I saw behaviors, I saw red flags, and I still chose to move forward. And it's because I loved him. I don't know. I believed in him. And I guess that's where I'm a foolish woman, because I just chose to believe in him.
Yeah, girl, that's La La Land. Respectfully. You know?
Yeah.
It's just like, and we talked about this a little bit before. Yeah. I'm just thinking like an NBA player, faithful. Yeah. I've seen him. I said this before, but I've seen him at the D3 level. D3.
The nerve.
No.
The fucking nerve.
No, I mean, I just saw how those guys would like move around campus. And it's like, that's Division 3 basketball. I'm thinking Division 1 has to be madness. The NBA has to be madness. Yeah. And firsthand, you've been dealing with these guys for like a decade. You know it's madness.
It is. And that's just where I kind of just take it on the chin. And I'm like, I believed in someone and it just didn't work out. And I know, and he knows, the conversations and the consistency that I thought, you know, like this was more than enough for me to trust it. I just believed in him. Yeah. And I can accept my responsibility in that for overlooking certain things that really I should have paid more attention to.
why didn't you ever look for like just a normal guy with like a 9 to 5? Because it's just guys will always say like, pay attention to what they do, not what they say. And and it's like a lot of times we'll complain about getting like cheated on or something, right? And then, we overlook the 9 to 5 guy who won't.
I would say that, I mean, my first boyfriend I met in college, he was regular guy and I loved him to death. I had dated a lawyer during that span.
Who broke up with who? College guy.
I broke up with him because it got abusive on both ends.
Mm-hmm. But this is just from the guy's perspective. Like they're gonna be like, okay, well that was the guy who wouldn't cheat, but you dumped him.
Well, it got to a place where he was he was condescending and emotionally really abusive, and then it got to a place where you're pushing me, now you're bruising up my arms, and now I'm putting my hands on you because I'm trying to defend myself, and I just felt like the respect was gone. It had nothing to do with whether you cheated or not. It was we are very toxic together, and I do not foresee us moving past this. Like I feel like once this is me, once that respect is lost for whatever reason, and then now y'all are putting your hands on each other, it has to end because there's only one way it's going to end. It only gets progressively worse, in my opinion, in my experience. I'm not trying to find out either. You're putting your hands on me, doing all that other stuff. I don't want to see what you're capable of.
Did you file a police report at all or no?
No.
Because again, it's just like like a lot of times we'll say these things about guys, but it's like the question is like me if I'm getting punched in the face. I
wasn't getting punched in the face. It was more so you were like bruising my arms and pushing me down and little stuff like that. And I know if he would have punched me in the face, that would have also be a different thing. I've never been hit or punched anything ever. So yeah, I feel like it was leading up to being punched in the face. But bruises on my arms to me is a little more than enough.
And then you never hit first?
I slapped him. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, but you would agree that's like mutually abusive.
No, that's what I said. I said it was. I didn't. Yeah, I never said it. Oh my God, no! Like it got to a place where I'm like, all right, now I'm about to start putting my hands on you too.
And that's the thing. Like I think a lot of times you actually do, agree with like a lot of the stuff I say, which is interesting.
Really? Why?
I was just expecting to disagree with you on like everything when you came.
Yeah.
On some level, but no, you actually are more based than I thought you were going to be.
I like what you talk about. I think that it's foreign to me because, and I would say probably a lot of females as well, because I can honestly say, I'll speak for myself because I don't want to speak for everybody, but I never thought about it. I never thought about how men feel. I never thought about biologically speaking what makes sense. I never thought about how in marriage, especially if the man makes more, that it's kind of a shitty contract on their end. I know business. That doesn't make sense, unless we're signing prenups, right? So it's just like, since I've been listening to your content and I knew I was going to get on here, I've started to like you a lot more, right? It's easy to just kind of take a clip from you and be like, oh my God, she's this, she's that. I personally like you. Like your personality is why I got on a 7-hour flight. And I knew that even though I may not agree, and I think that, and not even about agreeing, even though I may not just limit it to just that, like that perspective, I respect it. And I think it's true. There's really not a lot of stuff I think is untrue. And I just have told you, even when we were speaking off camera, that this is a newer mentality. I don't know what this mentality would mean to society as a whole. We kind of talked about the arranged marriages and what would that mean for society as a whole, right? And I can't remember the verbiage you used when we were talking about how the arranged marriages and how women, if we had dreams and stuff we wanted to explore on what that outcome would look like. You said the term, I don't remember the term you used though. Okay. But no, it's like, I get it. And all I can do is just be honest about, like, this is the expression that that is coded within me. And I am willing to accept the consequences that comes behind it. So I don't ask for people to look at me through a different lens. I'm just kind of here to be myself and just showcase another perspective. That's really it.
So I'm thinking, so you do looking back, was there anything that you would do differently? And is there a different advice that you would give to a 20-year-old girl that has the same opportunities that you did?
I think the biggest thing that I would want to do differently is
avoid the athletes.
Well, I will say, I have to be honest with myself because I think it's easy to take the cliche route and say like I would do nothing differently. Now, from the wisdom I have acquired, no, I would not change this wisdom for a clean slate. And that's just the God honest truth. But I will say to 20-year-olds and even to my 20-year-old self, I hate how I allowed myself to just be like used up by men. And that came from a lack of self-worth. I did not understand my value that I was born with. I didn't. And I gave, again, people look at sex differently, but sex is spiritual unification. At the end of the day, I don't care how you spin it. It's spiritual.
For women.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah,
for
women,
whatever.
yeah.
Okay, fine. For women, it's spiritual unification. And people that I shared my body with, when I think about my list, it's repulsive because they didn't deserve it. But that was an outcome of me discounting my worth. And it's disgusting. I hate even having that spiritual tie in any type of way. But yeah, I would absolutely change sexually how I move around. And not even necessarily because of like the societal outcome. It's more so from my self-worth.
Like, how it makes you like feel.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good knowing that you gave a sacred part of you to a man that looked at sex with you as taking a piss. That's not fulfilling. It's disgusting to think about. And I feel like I've beat myself up every single day for my decisions. And what people say about me online holds no candle to what I've told myself on a daily basis. Like I've been called worse by better, and that better being me. Like I have talked down to myself, and I felt like I was unworthy for a very long time. And I would say this is more of a recent awareness, like in the past year, where I'm like, Brittany, you were always enough. Like you never.
Yo, it would be different if I was sitting here like fucking punching in the air. Like I'm not accepting the fucking verdict. I am. It's accepted. All I'm trying to say to you,
yeah, but you keep saying I'm also virtue signaling.
Yeah, because
other stuff.
Because
you know
you're also you're throwing these things in the air to say, well, why didn't you know that he was guilty from the get-go? And I'm like, no. I said, okay. I said when someone is shot, regardless of whether they're a man or a woman, okay, and they survive the shooting and they turn around and say, this person shot me, I'm not immediately going to be like, I don't know. I feel like they're lying. Like, what the fuck? She got bullet fragments in her feet. Brother. Hey, hold on. I didn't say she didn't get shot. I don't know by who. That's what I was trying to say.
I understand. But but you're not hearing me. I'm saying she got shot.
Yes.
And she said, this person shot me.
Okay. And then she said, I did not see him. My back was turned.
No, she also said she did see him. She
when?
Literally turned her neck around in her testimony enough to be able to see who was shooting at her.
Okay. All right.
No. She also said the dance bitch line too.
Nobody, even her best friend, never even heard that line. Nobody.
Okay, but it doesn't matter because her best friend also, literally, the more important part of this conversation is her best friend also originally in the actual testimony, the 911 calls, in every single circumstance, said that it was Tory Lanez who shot Megan Thee Stallion. Tory Lanez also apologized to every single person involved. Now, he's Canadian, so maybe that's the reason why he apologized. Canadians love apologizing. But ultimately, it does seem a little suspicious when everyone is saying that everyone involved originally in the immediate aftermath is saying this person shot this person. Okay?
All right, okay. So as it relates to that, let me ask you this question, right?
So why do you think Kelsey said Tory Lanez shot Megan Thee Stallion and then pled the fifth this time around a year later?
Okay, so why do you think that she said that when she wasn't under oath, why do you think when she was under oath, she said, I never saw Tory shoot anyone or saw Tory with the gun? You're using when she's not under oath. I'm using when she could actually be charged with perjury. So who got the upper hand here?
Wait, so you're saying she lied you're suspecting that she lied originally to the not the prosecutors, but the investigators.
Well, it was actually the prosecutors because they only did that interview that we're talking about. That was done in September, directly to the prosecutors.
Okay. So you can't do that though.
Hold on. By the way,
you still can't lie to the prosecutors.
She said, "Hey, you guys made me feel uncomfortable. Seems
that's
like
still illegal.
she was hinting towards, hey, I was under duress. Hassan, here's the thing.
But she also said Tory Lanez shot Megan Thee Stallion. So you're like,
and then she now said that I never saw it.
Her hinting at things while simultaneously completely writing off all the shit that she did say.
So you're telling me that you are going to take the interview over the phone, right? Way more serious than her testimony under oath in person in court.
Also, she never said she doesn't know. I'm pretty sure she said that she's pleading the fifth and that she didn't want to answer.
No. She pled the fifth anytime it was a conversation about how did you guys, was there a fight before the shots were fired? And she said what I believe the driver is going to say. Hey, I never saw Tory with the gun. This is what she said. Definitely, 100%. I never saw Tory with a gun, and I never seen him fire the shot. And then at first she said, I was unsure that he was shot, but later I realized she was shot.
Okay, this is precisely the reason why I asked you what your speculation is, because like I need to understand like what you thought happened, because I gave you what I think happened, right? Like there was a scuffle, there was an altercation, right? And then like Tory Lanez popped off, has a short fuse, didn't actually intend to fucking shoot Megan Thee Stallion, accidentally did, you know. Little guy, big gun for him at least, you know, hard to fucking control.
Hassan,
and he's drunk.
You really think that he's shooting her over a disc?
So then, what is your take? Like, do you think there's a third shooter? Are we talking like JFK Grassy Knoll situation? Like, what the fuck happened then? Was it Kelsey who shot Megan Thee Stallion? Is that what you think?
Hey, this is why I went into the whole thing by saying, are we here to find out? I said we won't find out who actually did it. Right, we're only gonna find out if this is enough to
come
convict.
on. You are
okay. All right, so I'll tell you my narrative. You want to hear my narrative? I'll tell you my narrative. My narrative is this. Okay, they're at this party with Kylie. At the party, I believe that Meg, who was messing around with Tory behind her best friend's back, because the first person, and by the way, it does matter. I'm not trying to slut shame her, but it does matter who was having sex with who. Tory was having sex earlier in the year with Kelsey. She catches COVID. She goes back home. He starts messing around with Meg. Kelsey comes back into the picture, and at one of the most and first public events they're at together, they're at Kylie's house. Okay, they were drinking before Tory gets there. Tory gets there. He's trying to game up Kylie. Meg feels a little bit type of way because number one, that's disrespectful. I invited you to somewhere, and now you're trying to kick me.
By the way, we're still not at the events that took place.
Oh, no.
Okay, but you're building backstory. Fine.
You have to build
it's not like victim blaming or slut shaming.
Wait,
it's just,
you have to
important.
Hold on. You have to build it, because if you think that somebody, if I diss you as a streamer, would you shoot me, brother? If I say you're the worst streamer on the platform, would you shoot me?
No, of course not, but I'm not Tory Lanez, you know what I mean?
Oh my! Also, Tory is just like this degenerate guy who's not like
a multi-millionaire. I think that he is not necessarily degenerate, but he definitely does have a, like I said, short fuse. Very insecure, short fuse, drunk, has a gun around. That's what happens.
Short fuse and shooting a woman
to less famous people.
Okay, no, hold on.
It's not
short fuse and shooting a woman is like, come on, bro. Are we gonna act like there's no levels of separation, dog? Come on.
I mean, I know, but like then we come to the other side of the altercation where you are easily believing without any evidence whatsoever. Not a single person has said that this is the case.
What?
Okay. You believe that Kelsey has a short enough fuse to fucking shoot Megan Thee Stallion, but Tory Lanez doesn't. So that's why I'm like a little confused about where you are trying to go with this conversation.
All right, so
unless there was a third shooter with a sniper rifle.
Let me get there. Let me get there.
It's either Kelsey who shot Megan or Tory.
No, let me get there then. You see, in your story, hey, you suck at music. Boom, 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 boom. I say complete cap. I'm getting to it. I'm gonna speed up the story. So there's a bunch of jealousy going on. The women are arguing, but they're also arguing with Tory, which also is in line with what pretty much Meg even said on that Gayle King interview. All three of them are arguing. Kylie kicks them out. You have all three women argue, or you have two women and Tory arguing, okay? And then I gotta use Sean Kelly's testimony. The car pulls over, and Meg hops out and starts to assault Kelsey. Sean Kelly said it. She was kicking her for several
Sean
minutes.
Kelly, who was sleeping at this point.
Okay,
right?
but listen, we're just gonna throw out his testimony because he doesn't agree, or because he has?
No, but I would be a little, I would be a little questioning it a little bit, right? Like a little bit of skepticism is necessary here because, like, why the fuck was he up watching the street randomly in the middle of the night? Even if we don't agree with that, that's such a massive inconsistency.
Even if we don't agree with that,
common sense probably favors one side that he did wake up the gunshots, which was his original testimony.
You're trying to like pigeonhole it on him. There was an altercation. Even if you didn't believe that he saw it, okay. So are you gonna then say
with any of those guys in my 20s? Like it wasn't a match. Like there's nobody then that I'm like, I wish they would take me seriously now. No. Like I like them the same reason they like me. I'm trophy pussy to them. And they're basically trophy dick to me. We both got what we wanted. I mean, essentially, we wanted to have sex. That worked. I mean, yeah, you have sex and you maybe want to start being in a relationship, but I didn't fucking know them like that. There's a lot of guys I didn't really know on that level to even, it makes sense. So it's not even like you were saying, I'm trying to think of the sentence you said before we started this conversation, though, this topic. So it's not even that I'm like, oh, I wish I had those options. It's just more so like that shit was shallow anyways. Everything was shallow about it. Like you didn't really want to get to know me for me.
Yeah, but that's like the woman's point of view. You know what I mean? Like,
but they didn't want to if they wanted to get to know me for me,
right.
it'd been a little different.
Right. No, but I'm saying like from the men's point of view, it's going to be, and this is just, again, what the guys are saying.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, you made all those, like you let all those guys hit for free and now I got to do all this.
Well, it's not even, I don't even look at it as, well, you did it for free because I'm not a prostitute. Like, and I'm not a glorified escort.
Right.
Either.
And that might not be how you look at it.
Okay.
But
that's crazy to me.
This is just how, like, this is how men see it. It's like, okay, blessing. Producer. You took your girl on dates, right? Yeah. How would you feel if you took her on, let's say, 5 dates before you hit? I don't know what y'all did. I'm not. And then you found out that your Bob down the street hit without taking her on shit. Like it hurts. It's like it hurts the man's ego.
No, that's fine.
And it hurts. It's not insecurity either. It's just like
that's where I have to come in and say, okay, like I'm not saying your ego shouldn't be hurt. I'm saying you're not somebody that is even like we're not on each other's radar. So the man that I want can't care about who the fuck I went on, who I did what with. And that's a small percentage. So that's why it's like him saying that, he's allowed to feel that way. I mean, that's fine. Like, you're not on my radar.
But I think the point is like all men think like this.
I'm not going to generalize all. I just can't. Like, we can say majority, but I'm not going to generalize and say all. Because it's like, what my biggest issue is like, once you hit a certain age, you're no good. Okay, so women, we hit 30 and we're basically useless to society. Okay, to most men, that's how they're going to feel. That our life still has to go on.
I would say not most men don't feel that way. It's again, it's the men that we want that feel that way because those men have options. 80% of men women find unattractive. Those men will date 30-year-olds. They'll date single mothers. They'll do all of it. It's the 20% of men that we want when they say, okay, single mom or no single mom. I'm going to pick no single mom because it's just less headache. Yeah. If I could pick a 22-year-old or a 32-year-old, I'm going to pick a 22-year-old. It's not to say nobody gets through, but just like on a balance of probabilities.
No, and that's fine. I
think the men sometimes get frustrated with us because they feel like we've been sold this fairy tale that's just not real, and these men are not real. Like to them, and that's where they come in and say like women are delusional for like wanting these things.
I mean, and from their perspective, that's valid. That I don't have to, like, if that's however, whatever percentage men you want to say that's how they feel. You're saying all. I'm saying I'm not gonna categorize and say all. I don't think all of anything.
I'll give you 5%.
Okay, 5%. Okay, well then I'm only concerned about the 5. Like I have no like I'm not Jehovah's Witness. I'm not here to convert you guys shouldn't think this way about me. You should see me as this.
No,
see my value. I don't
No,
need
and
that.
I'm not saying like there's nothing you can do.
Yeah,
you're
it just
where
is what it is.
you're where you're at. You can't undo the men you slept with.
Yeah, and
You
I don't
can't-
want
you
to.
have-
It
you
just is
can't-
what it is.
You have a child, so you can't undo any of that. There's no point in harping about it. And I think that's the point you generally try to make.
Yeah, is that I accept the repercussions of my decisions, good, bad, or indifferent.
But my only point is I'm just trying to like let you know this is how the men see it, and
Yeah.
this is what they're talking about in the red pill.
I get it.
Okay, what were your biggest disagreements with me before you met me?
Biggest disagreements.
Or anything on the show that you've disagreed with that I said.
I think there were maybe 3 things.
Okay.
The first, well, I had only watched one video on your Instagram because I didn't want to do too deep of a dive just yet, right? And it was the women aren't entitled to safety. And I think it's triggering because like you think of like, well, why do I have to fear going down a dark alley, right? But then when you actually think about it, none of us are entitled to safety. So that statement is actually true. So that was one thing. So I kind of went through my own thought process. We move forward. I don't even know.
So many people triggered over that one.
Yeah, because it's like you do want to be like, well, why can't I go down an alley at 1 a.m? Well, you can, but you know, whatever. But I think the other thing we had on the show, again, I don't disagree with. Okay, maybe the fat comments aren't that nice.
I can't say it.
I would say that
the large and majestic.
I don't think they're nice. I get
they started though.
Okay. But I mean, so I get you trying to defend yourself. And like when somebody says something mean to you, or again, if someone's not nice to you, you're going to be not nice back. So even from your perspective, I still get it. It's like you attack me. Well, you're going to hit me. I'm going below the belt. You're going low. I'm going to hell. You know what I mean? So I also, even though I don't agree, I understand. Because if you're going to talk about me, I'm going to talk about you too. Right. And I think the only thing during our talk with Andrew that I think I got maybe a little hyper was when we were talking about the child support stuff. And that's just because that is a close to home topic. And it is a very, it is a topic that is, to me, is talked about a lot. And people who don't have a fucking kid, who aren't going through this process, the lawyers, the custody, child support, all that stuff, you don't have a fucking clue, you know? So every state has different laws. So I think that was the only thing where I felt kind of hyper, but we talked about that like on the show. We kind of got into that stuff and why I felt the way I felt. So I don't know. I like you. I'm going to be honest. Like I definitely want to shoot more stuff together. And
the pair of nobody saw coming.
Yeah. Like I think you're cool as fuck. So I don't know. Like I think that I watched a lot of videos about you on TikTok. People were very like ugly to you. And I don't think they really see your personality, and they don't understand that there is a voice. Every voice is very important, right? Everybody's voice. It doesn't matter what shitty you think their content is. You think they're this, their perspective is valid, and they are representing.
The only independent witness in this courtroom is a man whose name is Sean Kelly. He came to court, and our attorneys, he would not even shake their hand after he went upstairs with Kathy Taw and Alex Bott.
They met on Saturday before. They
met with our witness. And then the man came back, and I sat in the hallway.
Okay, guys, if you have a question to submit to Brittany, go on my story. I'm gonna pick a couple right now. It's on Instagram. Just Pearly Things 1. They took away my actual ones. I'm gonna go. Okay. Oh, this is.
Am I looking oily? Am I good?
Do you think body count matters
for men or women?
For women.
Well, if we're talking about this space that we're in, it does matter. They're literally using body count as a way to, it's a scale. Of course, I'm going to say no, because I don't want to be judged for my body count. I wouldn't judge a man for his body count. But we're in a world where women are judged. So to a lot of men, it does matter. There are some men, we don't know the percentage, whatever. There are some men who don't give a fuck. So yeah, I think yes and no.
Would you agree that like better marriages like tend to be formed when they're both virgins? or when the woman's a virgin, at least?
I would say from my theory about that is if you don't know about anything else, there's a greater chance you're going to stay. So what I've come to realize with having different types of sex, when you have a big one, you know when it's a small one, right? And these things, this experience, it shapes how you view what the ideal partner or guy or sex is like. And so if I take the concept of we're both virgins, we both don't know about you can get choked, get spitting in mouths and anal and all this crazy stuff. Sorry, but I'm just saying.
Wait, y'all spit in each other's mouths? Oh my God.
You never have? No? I've done a lot of shit though, girl.
What? Ew. No, that's ew. Sorry. That just...
I feel like, yeah, you only know of each other, so there's a greater chance. Like your mind doesn't necessarily. I'm not gonna say it doesn't wander, but I would say that the probability is a lot lower because you don't know anything. That's it. You know, you don't know what a Lysol can's like because you ain't never been with one. Your husband's a 5-incher, he's a 6-incher.
Okay. Do you think you've peaked? And if so, what age?
Peaked in what? Like look-wise?
Yeah, look-wise. Do you think you've peaked physically, and if so, what age?
Like when I was in my best shape. I mean, obviously I've had a baby now, so my body's changed. I will say that the base is still pretty much the same. I feel like my favorite body, if I'm looking back at old pictures, probably 2019. It's probably like all the pictures I took then. I'm like, damn.
How old were you?
2019. I'm not good at math. What? Sorry, I can't even.
So like 2 years ago.
Yeah. I feel like that
3 years ago.
3 years ago. I'm sorry. Like I said, yeah. I feel like, body wise, 2019. Yeah, I feel like that was my favorite body. Because again, I feel like I've always had because genetically I've just always had a really nice body, and I was always in the gym as well. But I think I was a lot skinnier in the 2015, 2016. So 2019 was probably like my favorite. And then
when do you think most women peak? Also,
probably like mid-20s, maybe. Yeah. I mean, I'm going off of when I look at the girls I went to high school with on my Facebook. I'm like, she used to be that girl, and she's not that girl now. Not trying to be mean. It's just like they just look a lot.
It's honest,
and it's like you can't control a lot of it. It's genetic. So unless you have the money to get like work done, you're going to age. It's a natural thing. So I don't even say that to be nasty. I just feel like probably like mid-20s, like 25, 26 maybe.
25.
Usually, 26. Yeah. That would be my guess.
I actually think most girls peak at like 19. I think most of the people.
19?
Yeah, I really do.
You're like still babies, I feel like. You're still growing into your body and stuff.
Most girls I know in the US got fat. Like most girls were in better shape when they were 19, and I think that's like half of it.
Okay.
Maybe some got a little better style by like 21, 22, but I feel like I noticed, I think 19.
Okay.
For most girls.
Okay.
Blessing, my thing isn't loading because of the service. Can you connect me to the Wi-Fi for a second? Thank you.
This has been fun. I'm so glad we got to like talk.
Blessing is top producer. Thank you. Guys, go to Instagram, follow it while you're there, but for real, submit questions because I'm going to have her do them in a second. Okay. Have you noticed a difference in dating since you became a single mother?
Yes.
Okay. Tell me about that. Do you feel like that has been the biggest difference? What was bigger, having a kid or the book?
The book.
Really? Oh, I thought the kid would be bigger than the book.
The book for sure. Like there was a time, I'm telling you, at one point, the DMs were looking like a Nike store with all the checks, right? After the book.
Must be nice.
I tell you, but after the book, it was quiet. I feel like it took I don't even really want to say when it picked back up. I don't even know. Probably maybe like 7 or 8 months after the book. It started to kind of balance back out, but I'm talking, it was quiet.
And that was how old?
I think I was 26 when I released my book. Yeah, 2018.
Okay, 26.
Yeah.
They say the wall is undefeated. like 27. Would you date someone like Tate?
Would I date someone like him?
Yeah. Could you do the multiple wives if he was open with you from the jump?
It's like I would want him to myself. But I like the way he carries himself. I feel like he has that Mufasa energy. And I do think it's a lot different if it's full transparency. I'm never going to say never because a lot can happen between now and never. But I like the idea of someone just being fully transparent. And I don't know exactly. I don't know if I could be one of several, but I just don't want to say never. I don't know. I'm just going to keep an open mind. So I like transparency. I like honesty. I can respect honesty.
If you could have a perfect man that you wanted 6'6", you know what that means?
No, I was like, what?
Okay, 6 feet, 6 inches.
6 inches. That's
6
funny.
figures.
Oh my God. I love all these terms.
Would you give up your career?
Give up my career?
Yeah, for the perfect guy.
So I'm just I'm at home doing nothing? Or what am I doing?
You're being a mother.
Being a mom?
Kids, yeah.
I have to have more kids? Is that a part of the deal? Do I have to offer up my uterus or can we just be in love?
You don't want to have more kids?
I don't know. Never say never. I don't want to I don't say I never want to have more kids. I would never do this because I just feel like I've been humbled in a lot of ways. So right now, unless a man wants to marry me, why would I have more kids? I already have baby daddy, can't imagine more, especially without that commitment. Again, if we get married and it doesn't work out, that's a whole, whatever. But would I give up my career, have the perfect guy, like he sees the beauty in the Grand Canyon and does the bachata in the restaurant and is romantic? God, I don't know. That's hard.
Sometimes when you talk, it sounds like La La Land, respectfully.
I
it's just because you'll talk about these guys and I'm like, these men aren't real. See, what man sees the beauty is talking about the beauty in the Grand Canyon.
But why can't I have a guy that sees the beauty in the Grand Canyon? Why would I want someone that doesn't see the beauty in the Grand Canyon?
Why can't I have a millionaire?
But he doesn't see the beauty in the Grand Canyon? Bro, you're going to be able to make your own money. So why, at the end of the day, you grew up with money.
No,
so money, why would that even really impress you?
My point is it's just sometimes I think when we talk about these perfect guys, and when I was younger, it's so embarrassing. I don't really want to say it online. Everyone's going to roast me.
Why would they roast you?
Because it's embarrassing. When I was a kid, oh my gosh, I totally had a list of what I wanted in my future husband.
That's not dumb. That's really smart.
It does, but when I read it back, I was like, God damn, I was delusional.
No, I think
I was like, God damn.
I think for me that I'm not looking for a fucking perfect guy. I just want a guy that has similar values. And I don't know how to be quite honest with you. Why would a guy see the value in me if he doesn't even see the value in? This is gonna sound so crazy. I don't care. I'm gonna say it. If you don't see the beauty in the world and the land and all of these things, why the fuck would you think I'm valuable? You don't even think the Grand Canyon's its value speaks for itself. So you're not gonna see the value in me. So yeah. I mean, for me, I don't want a millionaire over someone who would want to do that with me. That's just where I'm at, and I'm okay with that. It's not like
it said Grand Canyon is a big ditch. Aim higher.
Oh my God. Whatever.
But that's what I'm saying. You're looking at the world with a feminine lens. Do you know what I mean? The man will see the Grand Canyon. I just think of my brothers, okay? And they're not trying to look at the Grand Canyon and see the beauty in it. And my dad is, I look up to my dad more than anyone in the world. He is a great man, okay? And I go to him for everything. And I'm like, he would think it was cool, but he's trying to bike it.
But that to me is cool. No, but
yeah,
that's what I'm saying though. Somebody who would want to bike it, someone who would want to hike, that to me, it's not about oh wow, just the Grand Canyon. It's more so that I think that's cool. Him even wanting to bike it is cool to me. That's the kind of guy I would want. I would love to bike the Grand Canyon with someone that I love.
Yeah.
That's
but it's see, this is where I often kind of see where the guys are coming from, because it's My dad probably would be looked over by most women when he was in his 20s. He was a little nerdy guy. The University of Chicago. Shout out, Dad. Shout out.
Yeah.
Shout out, father. I
already know these comments are hilarious. I'm not
can I read you one? It's kind of mean though. I won't.
That's fine.
They just had asked her to stop being a hoe. What did they think would happen? Like what she's gonna say? Yeah. Okay. Oh, guys, the Tate Brittany Pearl video. It's probably coming out Friday. My thumbnail guy is out of town this week. So he's out of town until Thursday. So Friday we're gonna do it.
How did you feel about that conversation, like as a whole?
Good. I think if I had to do it over again, I would have had one, maybe two less people on the panel.
Okay.
Just because I really wanted to hear you more. And I felt like there was some people on the panel that just like kept talking for a very long time.
Yeah. And I think too, I want to clarify because I know that they're going to love that video. Like I love that you even put that together and thought about adding me to that. When I am in a group setting, especially like that type of panel, I'm an active listener. So when somebody's talking, you be quiet. You don't talk. So I think that's why for me, when people are going around and there's three people that have made a point, whatever I had to say, I'm just like, I kind of didn't get to say it because, again, I believe in just listening and letting people talk. And then when it's my turn to talk, I'll talk. So I didn't have a lot of times where it was my turn to talk.
Yeah.
And when I did, I feel like I kind of had to like, hey, actually, you know. So yeah, it wasn't like and again, I liked a lot of the stuff that we talked about, you know.
Yeah, I think if I had to do it again, but something tells me, you know, there may be another one in the future.
Yeah.
Do you want to get married? And are you okay? Would you be okay with a long-term relationship without marriage?
Yes. I've actually thought about this because I would. I don't even think it's really the paper that I want. I think it's just the commitment. And like I think I like the idea of a wedding more than we have to go sign this. And then when we divorce, the courts are in our business because of like what I'm going through with the child support custody stuff. Getting out of that contract is going to be hard. Right. So yeah, I would want like, still would want a ring, still would want a wedding, but I wouldn't have to, I don't think we would have to do it in front of the courts. Yeah, it would just be a commitment to each other. And like I said, I've actually thought about that because I think I was watching one of your videos where a lot of women just want the celebration, the wedding, and they don't actually care to get married. So yeah, I would be open to that.
Would you be okay with like, cause I always say I would be cool with just, I want to say a courthouse wedding.
Okay.
But you know, then I'm like, you know, if he doesn't want to do the contract, that's fine. But I was thinking like just like a small thing with like my parents and my immediate family. Like I think that sounds nicer than like this big, like who needs 300 people at a wedding?
Yeah, I don't even know 300 people that would show up. So no, I love the idea of just like the ceremony and reception and people just celebrating your guys' union. And it doesn't have to be in front of, like I said, on paper. So that's kind of where I have changed my views a little bit, where I'm like, it's not even really the contract that I'm wanting. Cause like, whatever, who gives a fuck? I just want you and like all the fun stuff that comes along with it that, you know.
Sorry, I just know how the guys are gonna see it. They're like the fun stuff that comes with it. They're like, they've been sold a fairy tale.
But I mean, it is what it is, but it's like, I mean, cause it's not just about like, I want to be able, again, if especially if I'm marrying someone who has all of this, I've always been open to prenups, like, because it's never about like, oh, I want to take half of everything. Even when I was with my ex, like we had talked about prenups, like whatever, you know, I'm cool with that. But I think that's just where it's like, yeah, you want the cute stuff that comes with marriage, but I don't even really know if people actually want to go through the process, especially of getting out of it. I don't think they really want that.
Can I ask you, because I was just thinking, can I ask you about child support and like that? So they're saying you get $10,000 a month on child support.
No, I don't. I don't get 200,000. I don't get 10,000. And right now we are going through the process of child support and custody. So unless we can work something out between us, we will be going to trial probably in a few months. Right now, I'm getting $2,500 a month.
Okay. Could you do just like 50-50 custody with him? Would he want to do that?
Because of his career, he most likely would not be awarded that because he's on the road so much. I'm very open-minded. Whenever he wants to see our son, and come get him. Like he's getting them from the 29th to the 7th, like because he's traveling on this 2-week period right now. So anytime he wants him, I let him see him. Like, I mean, I love PJ. That's why I had a baby with him. So despite like all our shit that's been out there and how hard it has been transitioning from romantic to like basically strangers that we got a co-parent now, I still love him. I love him to death, you know. But yeah, so with the custody stuff, I'm very open-minded. I just think with his career, it would be hard for a judge to like award him 50-50, but just because he travels so much.
Because in my head, like, isn't it something that could be worked out like outside of court?
It is, but hearts don't break even. And I think in his mind, he has a number, which I won't say, but he has a number that he wants to stick to. And basically, when you're going through this process for North Carolina law, because it's very different other places, you don't get a percentage. If you both combined make annually over 300,000, you're considered off the charts, off grid. So then at this point, you have to prove how much you need in child support. So any bills that my son occupies, rent, car note, cable, groceries, those are things that my son occupies. And in Charlotte, the least amount that I could get would be 50% of each of those expenses, right? The most, depending on his career and what the judge sees fit, it could be up to 97%. So whatever bills he occupies would be covered, whatever for his clothes and diapers and all that. And then that's accumulated in a financial affidavit is what it's called, right? And then you present it to him, his team, if he wants to settle outside. If he's like, actually, no, that's too high. I don't want to do that. I'd rather try my chances in court. Then that's when you go to trial.
Do you think that he would give you nothing if it was up to him?
For the first 2 months, he gave me nothing.
Do you think that moving forward, he would continue to?
I think he would just give me $2,500.
You don't think I think that's plenty to raise a kid.
Well, when you go based on the laws for North Carolina, it's all of the bills that my son occupies. So my car note is, I think it's $2,000. Our rent is $2,750. All these bills. So I'm saying it's those two bills alone are already around.
But so this is just like the way the men are gonna see this is like it's like you're almost becoming entitled, and I'm not trying to offend you. It's just like because to me I'm like $2,500 a month. Auntie said she could do it on like $200 a month.
No, that's fine. But in reality, she doesn't have a baby with an NBA player, right? So what also is well, let me finish though.
Go ahead.
So why it's entitled? It's law. This isn't like my personal opinion, and I've learned actually a lot about the law in Charlotte for child support. My mom got $100 from me and my brother. But again, it goes off based on your income and what the child would be accustomed to. So that's where all of the opinions don't fucking matter. Because if my son is getting picked up in a Lamborghini, it's like he has to be in a equivalent, like the judge doesn't want there to be too big of a gap. And that is law. So people can be upset and feel how they want, but take it up with your judicial system. Like, this is what it is.
Yeah. But like the whole point is you don't have to go to court over it.
No, I would like to settle it outside, but you can't, if I can't, let me finish though.
Go ahead.
I have tried to settle this outside, and there's still a chance that we could, right? I have given my financial affidavit. They've subpoenaed my stuff. They know what's going all in my business. They know what's going on. I do not have the final say. Okay. So if he doesn't want to settle, he does not have to. We can have a judge tell us who should be awarded what and leave it up to chance. Like I said, I wanted to settle from the very beginning. Doesn't matter what I want because I'm asking him, this is what our bills are. This is how much it would be. Very reasonable number based on, again, you can't lie in the financial affidavit. It's like they subpoena everything. So that's where there's full transparency. It's not like you can get a Chanel bag with this child support. This is literally to cover your child's needs. This is not alimony. People get confused, like $100,000 for a kid. Like it depends on their lifestyle.
I'm saying like this is why the men like see these laws as unfair. And this is why they don't see this as fair because I hear $2,500 a month, and I personally think, and I grew up in a 1% family. Okay, like this is I had the life like sort of. We were like kind of like rich people that like dressed poor, you know what I mean? but it's like I hear $2,500 a month. I'm like, that's plenty for a kid. And I'm not trying to.
No, that's fine that you feel that way.
I don't think it's gonna like damage a kid if one's in a Lamborghini, one's in a Honda Civic.
But I'm telling you, that's up to judge. That's up to the judge, and that's up to law. And again, so if you are in it, like I said, it's like greater than equal to. So if you're using a $1.6 million house, a $500,000 house, $400,000 house makes sense. Like, I'm not saying you have to be 1.6 million. Like, that's not what it is. So like I said, people are allowed to feel that way. I would love if people were just out of the business in general, the court system, and there was something that could be worked out, but just between families. Like, that's it. But that's a fucking ideal world that we don't fucking live in.
Well, and the feedback I've gotten from men is a lot of times like we would get more if we didn't drag their ass in court. And
but,
like this is the feedback. Like if you just give them time, a lot of times you get more than you think you would have. Because most men that I know want to take care of their kids. But it's just like when a woman, because in their head and to them, it's like, you're dragging me to court, you're doing all this, you're asking me for all this money. And it's like in their head, they're like, well, fuck you.
No, well, and to also, where that point is not relevant to me is because he served me. I didn't take this to court. He wasn't paying me child support. I had to get a lawyer to figure out what to do next. But he served me first. People don't know that. So I got a the letter in the mail and said, this is what we're about to do.
He's taking you to court.
Yes.
Okay. I don't served you. So it just means he serves you with papers.
So it's not like, so for you saying, oh, well, if you didn't take him to court, maybe he would, well, he's taking me to court. So again, I hear you. And maybe for majority situations, that's what it is. But I was served.
Okay. I'm going to keep refreshing these things as much as I can. Yeah. I'll keep refreshing as much as I can. But essentially, what we're